Tonight's live broadcast is rated a very loose ESV PG. As last week proved, anything can fucking happen. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Your Shoulder Voice. We're glad to have you here tonight. On tonight's episode, we're going to be discussing a few different things. The main topic we're going to hit is being behind the mask. What is it like, to constantly give an illusion to everybody around you that everything's fine, or you're this wild and crazy person, or you're just everything is just humdrum in your life, but behind you're struggling so much. So many people have different ways of seeing this stuff and dealing with it. They act out. We never see who's truly behind there, but we'll hit some other topics and stuff like that. We'll help you enjoy. We encourage you to comment along while we're talking. We'll respond to every comment live. Other than that, just enjoy the show. You guys ready to do this?
Absolutely.
Let's do this.
Let's do it.
Yeah, damn well better be. What is it really like when everybody around you sees you as being somebody that's fun, energetic, outgoing? You're never without a smile on your face. You're always the life of the party. You're always making people laugh. You're the center of their universe, especially at big events, because you bring the fun. Your life must be great. It's a party all the time. But sadly, for most people out there, as we've been taught by many comedians and many people, it isn't. Deep down, you're struggling. You're dealing with a lot of things you don't understand, a lot of things that have hurt you in the past, and you've turned that energy to help others. But it doesn't always help the struggle you feel inside. For some of us, we act out repeatedly on it. For some of us, we just try to be an outgoing person that can hide it. We use the energy in different ways so that we're not a burden to other people, because that's what we feel like when we expose our problems. We're hypocrites. We'll sit there and tell people they can tell us anything, but deep down inside, we don't tell anybody anything. I am Keith Litman from Your Shoulder Voice. Tonight's show, we're going to be talking, of course, behind the mask. How do you deal with it? How do you struggle with it? Do you ever feel you're left out? And do you ever get the feeling that maybe you are more alone than you make everybody believe? We've got quite the panel here to discuss it with us. Before we bring them out, don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow to Your Shoulder Voice, and you can get notified of all our shows. Comment during the show as well. Engage us. We will respond live at everything. Reach out whenever you want to. And, of course, join our Patreon, because we need support, and we always appreciate that. But with that, let's bring in the panel. All right, our first panelist tonight, please welcome the amazing, the wonderful Nikki. How you doing tonight?
I'm good. That's a great introduction. I like it. Amazing, wonderful.
It's a little easier when you live that life sometimes,
Aw.
When you've experienced it, can make it easier sometimes. But I mean, we're still happy people.
Yes.
That's the one thing. A lot of times people think we're lying about it. We're not lying about it. We're still happy with the world surrounding us. We just hide so much sometimes, and that can be damaging. What kind of experience have you felt with something like that?
I mean, it's me 1,000% over. I'm the one that tries to cover up pain with laughter, or put a smile on even though I'm screaming on the inside. That's me.
I totally can understand that. Before I bring our next one, Drina's here. Good to see you, Drina, watching from the sweetest sides of Detroit, Michigan, USA. Glad to have you here, Drina, always. And Drina, you asked a question, and I might have missed this. It says, the Pope's trans acceptance quickly today, please, and your thoughts. I'm not sure I know what you're referring to right now. I think I missed this. So if you can give me a little more details, I want to hit it. And Blue Eyes says, happy Thanksgiving to you. Also, before I bring our next panelist in, I want to make a small apology. Our last show, we had our last show on Sunday, and it was about dealing with being alone at the holidays. And we went a little off track, and I think we let some people down there. And I want to assure you, we're always going to try to make sure that never happens again. We've done this show for a while now, and we usually are good at staying on topic. We're going to definitely try to keep things more focused on topic. We're still going to have fun. We're still going to be what we always were, but we let it get out of hand last week. I'm going to make sure that doesn't happen again. So I appreciate you coming back and bearing with us. Let's bring in our next panelist. Please welcome Gabriel.
Hi, how are you? I'm looking up that topic as we speak.
That's good. That's good. I should have. I just said you're one of the research people, and I brought you on next.
Yeah,
So
I
you
can
wouldn't-
I
'cause
can
was
Google
curious
like
about
the
that.
best of them.
I was curious. So what's been going on with you, Gabriel?
Not much. Set up the tree today.
Nice.
We have a fake tree and it's 20 years old,
But it's still November.
but it's still holding up. Yeah.
But it's still November.
I have
Black,
one of those too.
Black Friday's the acceptable day, I think.
I disagree. December 3rd is.
No.
It should be. It should be. I
So-
like that date. Well, I'm glad you got that set up. And of course, we're going to be talking about behind the mask and stuff. Do you ever feel that you hide a lot of things and exude a personality that isn't actually you?
I feel it's my entire personality.
That is your entire personality.
It is.
So you're definitely going to relate to a lot of this here. We're going to bring our next panelist. Please welcome Elena. Elena, good to have you back.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, I'm always happy to have you. Shh. Anna's here says they're busy December 3rd. Okay, that's fair. All right.
She's the boss.
That is totally fair on there. So, Elena, what's been going on with you? You seem one of those people that's always happy and excited and everything's great.
Yeah, of course.
All right. So, where are the lies?
Well, I'm a middle child, so I've been really good at hiding all of my demons because when you're a middle child, nobody cares about them. I wouldn't say nobody cares. There's just more important things going on. So,
That's fair.
like
You
Gabe,
kind of are
I
stuck.
think that it's become my whole personality of just being like, we're good.
Well, you're not the trial and error baby where you get to make all the mistakes and let the next one suffer for it. But you're also
No, but
not the
I dealt with
baby of the
that.
group.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you get all the hits. You get everything on there.
Right. It's great.
All right, please welcome back to the show as well, Teresa. What's going on?
Hi.
Hi, Teresa. Glad to have you as well.
Glad to be here.
You've become quite a regular on the show, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. I love that smile. I know that, Teresa, you've been through a lot in your life as well. Do you find yourself often covering up the issues that you're dealing with?
Yeah, for sure.
Is it just a work thing, or is it something that you do in your regular life? Like, are there a lot of friends that don't know the real you? I mean, true friends obviously usually do know a lot more of the real you, but
For sure. Yeah,
There
there's
are?
definitely well, at work it's because like when you're I'm kind of high up on the ladder, so you can't let someone see like, oh, I'm vulnerable because they put their trust and faith in you. So
yeah,
and
I
that
understand
bleeds
that.
over into the real life for sure.
Work is the hardest one. A lot of people think they know us because of how we are at work, and we're so different most of the time. All right, our final panelist tonight, we're going to bring in first time ever. Please welcome the ever-delayed Joe. Joe, how's it going? Perfect delay. He heard it, but he was still in the mode of I'm not on yet. So what's going on, Joe? We're glad to have you, but it's definitely
Not
a delay.
much, you?
Not much. So we were talking about masks.
How's it going?
It's going.
Isn't the lag that bad?
It's bad, but we can
Yeah.
work a little bit through it. We'll work with it when we're talking to you. Don't worry about that. So anybody in the audience, don't worry. He's not ignoring us. He just doesn't hear us yet, or vice versa. So what do you use? Do you feel you ever have a mask and you're doing things to try to hide everything around you? We need music in the middle.
Yeah, I do that very often. The only time, like, people notice when something's wrong with me is when I start going manic and do stupid shit.
Yeah. That's what some people do. Some people go and do wild things as well to get the
I'll,
energy
like,
out.
cover it up by using some poor excuse. So, yeah, I'm really good. Yeah.
That's good. Well, one of the things, I mean, it works the opposite way. I opened up talking about how happy and how great people are, but it often works the opposite way. Sometimes people will actually take themselves to a weirder level or something, or crazy and wild just to back up the things they're feeling inside, to hide sometimes pain, hurt, struggles in life. Everybody has their own way. Unfortunately for some people, as Kim says right here, one of the biggest masks is alcohol. Very, very true. A lot of people turn to alcohol. And cheers. Who can relate to that? Who
I'll
can
drink
relate
to that.
drinking alcohol?
Uh, I think there was a time when when I was bartending. Like I have this grotesque fear, like stage fright, like just being the center of
It's definitely for sure.
attention. And so I would drink to help me, you know, be the life of the party.
Is that just so you could be forgetting about the other issues going on?
Yeah, it
More than
like
anything.
it helped me like escape to like just a different place. Like um I don't know, it was almost like being an actor, and when the curtain opens, like it's just, cue that Nikki.
That
But
can
it
be
was the only way I could do it without like shitting myself and running off stage, basically. like,
Sure.
What about you, Joe? Because you said definitely yeah on that one as well, and I'm going to fill some conversation while we wait for your lag to come back. But what really has been your issue? What did you use it to mask?
I mean, I use pills and alcohol to mask what I was feeling, but it was really weird how it would work. It would actually reverse the things I would want to do. For example, if I wanted to bury my emotions in a bottle, I would actually get so drunk that I would actually tell someone about my problems. I forget I did that and just keep doing
I understand. I'm sorry. I know
constantly
the lag is bad.
and on someone, and then just and when I'm sober, I'll just hide everything away.
Yeah, and that's what happens too. A lot of times when people drink, they'll do like Nikki said, and I mean, I think we've
Do
all
you
at
guys
some point.
all that?
Yeah, you're coming in a little
You're breaking up real
breaking up a
bad.
little bit, but that's okay. We're hearing the gist of what you're saying right now. Hopefully, it'll get better. I said I'll set you up with stuff coming in the future for these shows. A lot of us do that. Kim says she lives in Gross, Nebraska, one of the smallest towns in the U.S., and she sees it a lot. Is there any correlation, does anybody think, between a small town and these issues versus a big city? Do you think one's worse than the other?
I
I
don't.
think a lot of people in small towns, there's nothing else to do than drink.
Well, depending on where you are, I mean, definitely south of us, when you get to like Kentucky, Tennessee, stuff like that.
I mean,
Those
like
rural areas.
my hometown is like this big. It has one main road. The rest of them are all dirt. So like, and that's where I grew up, you know. So I totally have seen it a lot. But now that I do live in the city, I wouldn't say it's better, but I don't know. It's probably the same, actually, now that I'm
Well, I mean, it
talking out loud.
depends. What were you gonna say?
I think it's
I don't, I don't want to
Go
cut
ahead.
him off. Like I don't think like the small town or big town makes the difference.
my bad.
Like if we're
You're okay.
talking in terms of like alcohol being the mask, maybe in a small town it's more is obvious maybe to the others because towns are so small, like everybody knows everybody.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I wouldn't think that like just because it's a small town, like people go to alcohol more because it's a small town. Maybe like because there's less people, so maybe they're lonelier.
Well,
Maybe they're turning to it for that.
I wonder if there's the thought and the difference of maybe blending in more, because in these small towns, as we were saying, everybody drinks.
Yeah.
So do you
Maybe.
question it as much when somebody's doing that versus where in some of the bigger cities where you're surrounded, people are identified as the bar drunk or as,
Yeah.
our drunk friend, our asshole friend. 'Cause we all have them.
Yeah.
And what about you, Kim? I love the name, by the way, Kim Wilde. I absolutely love that name. What about you? Do you think, how do you feel about it? Is this like worse? Have you been in a small town your whole life? And are you in one of those small towns that most people drink anyway? Like Kentucky, she says she searches her town to see
I'm
us.
about to search her town. Gross,
I'll go-
Nebraska.
I am. See, now we got to work. All right, we appreciate that.
So I think it comes down to the pressures of whatever experience you're in. If you're in a small town,
5 people. Okay.
Mine was 3. I was like, what?
Sorry to interrupt that, but 5 people. Go ahead, Gabe.
So obviously, if there's only 5 people in your town, that it's you know each other, everything is going to be. I mean, that is the question, right? How well do you know the other 4 people in your town?
I think it says it dropped to a population of 2.
Yeah, I saw 3 in 2021.
Oh,
Wow.
I
is that
don't
right now?
know the exact number now. Was there a
You know,
baby born?
People are moving in and out, and that's important. What were you going to say there, Joe? I know, like I said, you're going to get cut off a bit because we don't know you're talking yet.
We need the Jeopardy sound.
I was.
Oh,
reading something.
yes.
You might have missed that. It might not have gone through. Oh, wait, no.
Sorry, breaking up.
Oh, you're good.
Like, I was gonna say, technically, if it's a small town, it's most likely going to be more worse because everyone will know what you say, and it can be hold against you from other people. So you're probably better off in the city where you can go on the street and meet someone, and then tell them about the problems and never meet them again. Don't have to worry about it. But in a small town, everyone knows who the hell you are, so rumors can easily be spread.
That's actually a very good point. I didn't even think about that really, because that's a really good point. Who are you hiding from at that point?
Right.
Like we use.
But at the same time, in a large city, you're competing for just a small percent of the opportunity or the
To
attention
have someone to
that's
talk
out
to,
there.
yeah.
You are a piece of sand in the desert when it
Right.
comes to living into a small town or a big town. And the pressures that apply to that must be, I mean, I couldn't imagine being like a New Yorker or anything like that. The pressures that sort of go along with, trying to fill the status quo when it comes to success and housing and all of that stuff. It's a completely
Kim
different
says
world.
she's been there for 2 years and she works in Vegas on and off during the year. She came here to hide. Are you the third person
Right.
that brought it up? I'm just wondering. Just curious. Kim, is this something you've ever found yourself doing? I mean, you say it happens a lot, and just out of curiosity, is there anything you've ever found yourself doing? Before we continue much more on this, we have some other topics we're going to discuss. I'm not really going to discuss those topics because we kind of jumped right into this, which is a good thing. It's kind of a deep topic for a lot of people. But Gabe, did you find out about the Pope trans acceptance things for Drina?
I did. Apparently, within the last month, the Pope had a luncheon with transgender women and discussed approved gender dysphonic people to be baptized earlier this month.
Oh, okay. I can fully.
I think that's
accept
great.
That. You asked for the thoughts.
I think
do
it's very
believe.
progressive of the Catholic community. I'm not surprised, to be honest.
No, I think it's good. I think it's good that they are recognizing trans people as human beings. And that's something that a lot of organizations do forget. I was going to kind of bash a little bit of the community, but I get to remain Elena's friend tonight, so I'm not.
You can
going
still
to.
do it. The whole
but-
point of this show is for us to discuss.
Yes.
No, I know we will. One of the things I was actually going to bring up too, as far as Drina says, was the focus. I keep seeing all these videos and stuff on the trans community, and this is going to kind of veer into mask. It was going to, but we're doing it out of order now. Is one of the things a focus was Bill Burr's wife flipping off Trump at a rally, and everybody's all got their panties in an array for it. Why is that not allowed? And the trans people, and they want us to identify them, and they're different, and they can be whatever they want, and we have to recognize it. Are there not more pressing issues in the world today than somebody flipping off our president, than having to say
He's not our president.
Let's go, up press. Okay, sorry. But let's go, Brandon. Fuck Joe Biden. Then, oh my God, you're calling me by the wrong name, and I'm triggered. Are there not more pressing issues to worry about in this world? Why are we creating new problems?
Because they make money.
I understand, and I understand that,
Popularity.
trans have existed, etc., and they've been struggling. They get that right, or people have flipped off the presidents or ex-presidents before. I understand all that. But with everything going on, why is this the main focus of our world
Because
right
it makes
now? Yes,
money.
Elena.
I think I don't know why everyone cares about Bill's wife flipping out. That's no one should give a fuck about that.
It's totally offensive.
Okay, it's fine. But as far as the trans community
I can
goes,
actually give the answer for that.
as far as the trans community goes, I do think that something I do think it can be a pressing topic that people need to talk about because there's so many trans people out there that like the trans community is extremely they have extremely high suicidal rates because people aren't respecting them as people. So I do think that that is a pressing topic because people are dying for not getting the recognition that they deserve as humans.
Is it your right? And I hate to argue this with you because I know you're passionate about this, but is it your right as a human being to expect other human beings to go against their visual understanding of the world and nature? Is it your right to have them do that? If they don't, they don't. Because you're controlling someone else the same way that you're saying they're controlling you.
No, and I get what you're saying. My whole like spiel about the whole thing is that if a trans person comes up to me and like let's say I misgender them and they're like, "Hey, it's actually she her." It takes me 2 seconds to just say, "Oh, sorry," and we move on. Like, well, I'm not going to sit there and be like, "Well, that's not what I thought," because it's just upsetting that person.
And I get that, and I understand what you're saying. What you're doing is kind to do. I mean, it's nice of you to do something like that.
I don't even think it's kind. I think that that's just how you should treat people. Like, I feel like that's the bare minimum on how to have a conversation with a human being.
We had the conversation before, though. You're also, though it makes you feel good and you're doing the common decency, you're going against everything you've ever been taught. Not that it's right, not that it's wrong, not that you're one side or the other, but you are asking a lot of somebody to, because in the last couple of years, I faced this dilemma and did this. You have to give up 40, 50, 60 years of your life and how you recognize people. And I think that's an issue, you know, and that
I don't think it's an issue because it takes 2 seconds to say, "Sorry, friend," and then we move on.
Again, I'm not talking about the people that are accepting that you say you misgender and they say, "Hey, I'm a she," and you correct it, and that's fine. That's all good. I'm talking the ones that literally, I feel so violated and offended because the first time meeting you, you misgendered me and didn't say what gender am I upon meeting. Like the extreme ones out there, I think, are not giving the fair opportunity. And again, the reason is, why are we focused on this? You know, why are we focused at people? You know, I don't know how to say it. Go ahead, Gabe, and then I'm going to go to you, Joe. So when Gabe's done talking, you can just talk because you know you're going to get a delay.
So how many times has anybody run into that actual situation?
That's what I was going to say.
Have you? Because I have never run into that situation.
In the bar, I have.
I have friends that have transgender friends, and it was never an issue. You know, I think these things get accelerated because commotion and I'm hearing myself bleed
Me
in
too.
the audio real bad.
I think it's from Joe's, yeah.
So
I know his echoes off too. I don't know where it's coming from.
So it's controversy makes money, and all you have to do is you take 3 situations where someone experienced that and you turn it into a global phenomenon, you know, and that's kind of where we're at when it comes to these articles and things like that, where something starts out uniquely small and it's just 2 or 3 people saying something negative in a comment thread that you would automatically just pass by like you would a normal day. But somebody on those websites takes that article or they take that comment, they put it in an article so that they can get hits. And then it blows up, it amplifies. Other third-party media companies go, "Oh, well, these guys are getting tons of hits and it's going viral because of that. So let's blow up this whole situation." So whether it be transgender rights and things like that, obviously, you know, everyone that I've talked to that's ever been transgender has been fantastic. You know, I haven't had that situation where there was a lot of confusion there. And if there was never any animosity or anything like that. So for me, my personal experience is just, it's never been a situation that
That's
I've
fair.
had to deal with.
Hitting with what she says before I go to Drina's comment, Kim says, I work with transgender people a lot. I'm a Vegas showgirl. Go you. You look like you could be. And I flip off Trump with the biggest finger ever. And you know what? That was the other issue. It wasn't just the trans thing, but there was a lot of stuff I was seeing lately, as well as seeing the stuff about flipping off Trump. And it's so wrong and it's so offensive. You should never do that to our president. Mind you, from the group that says, hang Mike Pence, lock her up, fuck Joe Biden, all this other stuff. Like, where are you drawing the line? Why is this a fucking issue? You do it too. We all do it. We're all the fucking same. Get off of that and worry about issues. Worry about things that affect us. Joe, you were going to say with the trans, you had an answer for that. Please go ahead.
All right. So for like why the flipping out the president or whatever was going on is so important is because the media likes to push down stupid stories down our throats to cover up what's actually going on. They've been doing this for years, which is really sad, but it's how they get away with it because it's like dangling keys. Let's say you do something really bad and then you go do this other stupid thing but small, but you dangle that in front of the people and make them forget about the big thing. That's how they've been doing this for years. Same thing it's pretty much the same thing was going on with the transgenders. I think the transgender problem has been played way over long, like way too long. I mean, why hasn't this problem been solved? Because they don't want to. They're using it as diversion. Male suicide rates is going higher than ever between whites and now blacks. Blacks are now killing themselves way higher than almost whites now, which is really bad. And that's not even being talked about in the community.
No, a lot of things are not being talked about, and that's one of the issues. That's
like I said, the whole transgender thing has just been a diversion.
I feel like that's it. That's why that's why my argument is, why are we so focused on this? Why does this matter what side of the aisle you're on? Why does this matter who you vote for, where you're going, etc.? Drina asks as well, do you feel trans people should be able to be married or baptized? I think you should be allowed to be married personally if you're trans, and I believe baptized you should be allowed to as well. However, on the flip side of that, I don't think it is your right to be married by the church if you're going with something against what the church believes. Governmental certificate, marriage like that, anything government run, absolutely you have the rights of every other human being. But utilizing a religious ceremony based on your church, and a church saying, I don't recognize this. I'm glad, the Pope does now. But if the church or the religion you have doesn't recognize it, I don't think that it is your right to make them change that. Religion is dear to a lot of people. They believe it very fully in what it stands for, right or wrong. They believe it very fully. What about you guys? What do you think? Teresa, you've been quiet, so I'm going to hit you up with that one.
I think that I agree with you. I think that they should be able, people should be able to get married, be baptized, whatever. But I guess the thing, and this is truly, I don't know the answer to this. Like, it's truly something I'm curious about, is like, why would you want to? Like, I wouldn't want to be married in a church that didn't accept me or didn't, like they were against me, or I felt like it was like adversarial. So to me, and again, I don't understand, and I don't pretend to understand, but that wouldn't be something I would fight for, because it's like, if I'm kind of that person that if you're going to talk about me at the table, then I don't want to be at your table.
Sure.
So to me, I don't understand that if it's just like a point that people are trying to make. But I do have close friends, family members, people I work with. I have a lot of respect for them. I feel like they do deserve to be treated like, humans with all human decency and respect. I think that they, to have the same rights. But the part about like wanting to have it done in a certain congregation that they aren't welcome in is just something I truly don't understand.
I do, and I want to kind of split my answer with this too, because married and baptized are two different things. I do believe if you're going to be baptized under a faith, that's kind of the point of a baptism, isn't it? Like if your religion sees you as having an issue with being who you are, whether you be trans, gay, or anything like that, baptize is supposed to start you off. A baptism is supposed to start you off clean. So I mean, I think everybody has the right to do something like that if they choose to. But the married, like I said, with the religion, we kill cows all the time. We do. We eat meat. So does that give us the right to go to India and kill a cow where they're sacred? Because it's on our religion. No, you got to respect the religion with what you do. And if your religion is against that, whether your religion is right or wrong, you have to kind of respect that religion. And what Kim says about this is very true. She says they do get married and baptized, non-denominational church groups, stuff like that. And I do believe those are options. I don't believe in causing a ruckus because it goes against somebody's faith. Faith is something that's very, very important to have. Whether you agree with someone's faith or not, it's something that they are entitled to the right to believe. They're just not entitled to push it on other people. And to push that, you're doing the exact same thing. You're pushing your right to be transgender, married, or gay and married, or you're pushing that onto somebody else who has a different belief. If you want people to respect you and your beliefs, you have to respect them and theirs. And that's where I am on that. Elena, I'm sure you have something to say.
Well, I don't
Gabe,
want.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Gabe, you go.
So most major wars have started over this exact topic throughout the entirety of history. The fact that people can't respect each other's beliefs and things like that. So to have, that's really messing me up. So
It's so hard to talk with that
yeah,
echo.
When you're talking, I'm muting his mic so it doesn't come back, and then I'll unmute it when you talk. So don't worry about that, Joe. We got
Okay.
you covered on this end.
so to get back to that, it's essentially it's like it's just a small part of the bigger story, right? It's us all being able to have our own personalities, our own religions, our own faith, and things like that, and respecting each other's without killing each other, or else, and sort of living side by side and sort of managing to do that peacefully, So for the transgender community, I respect what they're trying to do because right now they are being, it's very vocal against the negativity of all of that, when it comes to a lot of people sort of swear them off and things like that,
I agree.
And so right now they are in the limelight, so they're trying to get attention to sort of their rights and what they feel that they deserve, which is most of the time it's like everybody else when it came to African Americans or and other nationalities, the gay, lesbian, everybody's got their turn when it comes to sort of equality and just basic human rights and stuff like
You
that.
can't have both, though, in this world. You really can't. You can't have, everybody agrees on everything. If people choose a certain faith to follow, they should. Kim says, believe it or not. Oh, by the way, I want to say before that, for Joe, I know I'm muting your mic and taking you off. Raise up your hand if you got something to say, like in the middle, and I'll unmute your mic real quick. And don't worry, I know it's your first show and it seems weird. Nikki went through this before, too. Like, we had to do it with her when she first started.
I
We had
did
some issues
too.
with that. So did Elena.
Yeah.
It's just until we get it fully set up, sometimes the first show's harder. So you're doing fine. She says,
He raised
believe
his
it or
hand.
not, they are all through the South now. And in the same sense, what we were talking about, churches shouldn't push their beliefs and ways on others. That's one of the biggest parts where instead of fighting them, because you're fighting a faith, you're fighting a religion, agree to disagree. That's one of the main issues and places and times to do something like that. They're not going to see eye, but making a public spectacle of yourself makes both of you look bad. People don't know what to choose because most people do respect you. I mean, there's a group that don't. Just like Elena said, do you know anybody personally, or Nikki doesn't know any personally that's ever done that. They are out there, but they're minimal, but they look like they're everywhere, and people are making that the focus of everything.
But public spectacle
Because the
is-
squeaky wheel gets the grease,
Yes.
It
public
absolutely does.
spectacle is the way of the world.
We did
Yeah.
hit current events anyway, so that's awesome. So we are still hitting it, which is good. I didn't bring it up. Joe, did you have something to say on that before I go to Drina's comment.
Oh, I did. Well, first, I mess around with the settings. I'm not sure if the squeaking will continue or not, but I would like to know if it does. Second, I actually wanted to say something about the trans getting married. I'm really confused on that because I've seen what some of them can do. Like, it can harm a child, what I've seen, but others, it seems like they can be good parenting. So I think it also comes down to, with straight people, the same problem. It's pretty much like, because not all straight parents are the same great parents, and that's where it also comes down to. And I feel like society's actually scared that they see what straight people can do, and they're not ready to see what the trans community can do to a kid. And I think it all comes down to fear, and we should stop giving to that fear and just see what happens. Then just try to have faith.
I do think that people should
and just
kids,
I guess
kids
try to our best to like supervise them.
It is. We're supposed to teach children,
like to make sure like they're not doing what they did with the well, yeah, okay, so like okay, so if trans people want to get married, well, definitely, but that's what I'm saying. If I think it should be supervised. If trans people want to get married, let them get married. If they want to have kids, fine. Make sure they're not messing with the kid's mind and trying to say that, oh, you're this gender. Let them figure it out for themselves. That's the way I see it.
Yeah.
And I believe the church shouldn't. I don't know about the church, majorly because people don't like being pushed on beliefs in general. And it's just going to be like a hypocrisy thing that's going around. It's just like an endless war.
That's what Kim was saying, and I completely agree with that because she was saying churches shouldn't be pushing the beliefs. I will agree 100% with the things that we got to stop using kids as pawns in our game. All right? No, you should not be telling a kid that they're trans. No, you should not be telling a kid that it's okay to be something else. Okay? You should let the kid make their choices. You should tell them that it's okay to be who you want to be, but you should not push or promote things. I sucked 100 dicks when I was in elementary school and junior high and shit. Okay? I did it for straight people. I did it for people who turned out to be gay, people who turned out to be bisexual, anything like that, or turned out to be straight. Because we didn't know where we were yet. We experimented, we learned. I don't know, 100's probably a lot to say. But to give you an example with it,
you should have led with that.
But they made their own decisions. People will experiment. They will become who they want to be on their own. We do not need to interfere and tell them that there's something else. If your kid is feminine, you teach them it's okay to be feminine. Not, hey, if you're feminine, just go be a girl. Right. That's not what we should be teaching. Say, hey, it's okay to be a feminine guy. And they'll learn about transgenderism, and they'll make their own decisions in the future. I think that's right. Pushing in schools, but it doesn't happen as much in schools as people think it does.
Right. I don't.
That's what I was gonna like. I was trying to be very patient. I really don't think that people are pushing different gender identities on their kids. I've never seen that happen. I have tons of friends that are parents. I grew up with friends with parents. I've never seen a parent be like, no, honey, you're trans. Like, I've never seen that happen. I think that people that are talking about that happen are making it up. I don't think that that's a thing. I think that it is entirely okay to raise your child completely gender neutral, which I've seen happening a little bit more frequently now. And I don't think that there's a problem with that. Like, people that are raising their child gender neutral, it really does just open up this world for their child to never have to like come out as anything to their parents, which I think is a beautiful thing that could happen.
But
and it's something that Brandon and I talk about a lot. Like, when we do have kids, like I don't want my kids to ever feel like they need to come out to me.
No, but
just bring home whoever you want to bring home. Dress however you want to dress. I'm behind you. It's cool.
Children still understand a boy versus a girl. The biological definition of those things. Shouldn't they at least understand that, hey, you're a boy, hey, you're a girl? You can make your decisions, you can change things, but shouldn't we teach them the obvious biological things that exist in every member of the animal kingdom?
No, and I agree. I think that that's fine. I think it's fine to teach kids about like genitalia between men and women, like, okay. Of course at an age where that's an okay topic to talk, you know what I mean? I'm not talking about let's teach 3-year-olds about vaginas. Like, that's not what I'm saying at all. But like, I think that that's completely fine, but I also think that you can do that and still, like, just in a way that, like, everyone's just, it's fine. Who cares about what your neighbor has fucking in their pants? I don't care.
I don't either, and I don't think anybody really should. I think that's their business. That's why that was the point of the conversation, more than disagreeing or agreeing with transgenderism. We can all have our opinions, but why is that such a fucking big deal? Anna was about
Because,
to
like Gabe
say,
said,
Joanna,
it's just, it sells. The articles sell, so let's keep selling articles about it.
people's stories get the most attention. Kim's back. She says, public spectacle is a stupid way of the world. Too many groups think that any publicity they get is good. And as much as
I don't think it's necessarily the groups doing it, though. I think it's the people who write the articles doing it.
Well, it is groups. It's individual people, and it's a group that latches onto that situation and acts like it's a countrywide issue or a worldwide issue.
It's like the anti of that group, the ones who are blowing it up. You know what I mean?
By the same token, I'm going to get to something Drina said, based on what Kim said, to think that any publicity they get is good. And the sad thing about that statement is it's true. And that goes to Drina's comment that she made, which is, are you surprised Trump is still running so strongly? Again, we're not going to get into
Not in the
disagreements.
world. Not in today's world. No.
Yeah, and I don't want to get into who's right and who's wrong. I don't want to get a sided debate on this. But yeah, because these people don't care. And when I say these people, I'm not talking about one-sided. Because one thing that used to say was right, if Trump cured cancer, people would bitch about him too. But it works both ways.
Oh,
if
absolutely.
he fucked the world over, people would say he's still my guy.
Right.
Because again, we're not focused on issues.
We're not even talking about politics anymore. We're talking about individuals,
Yeah,
which is
No.
crazy. We're not talking about the problems.
right.
We're talking like, I
those
feel like,
sidelines.
right. I feel like a lot of people, like you said, either side are just like, nope, that's my guy no matter what. And I feel like that's a very big problem, and it's a very dangerous thing.
And it works both ways. I mean,
Oh, 100%. 100% it works both ways.
it's gone so extreme. I'm going to hit the other topic before we go back into behind the mask because, hell, we're talking current shit again, which is what we want to do at the start of the show anyway. I was talking Scream 7. Who knows who Melissa Barrera is? Does anybody know? She's the lead in the new Scream series.
Wonderful.
And Scream
Good for
7
her.
was coming up. And she, what she did is she did a tweet about, they say it was anti-Semitic. I'm see if I can actually find the tweet to read it. But it was about her opinion, what's going on with Hamas and everything, that she feels that this is kind of a cleansing.
She said what?
That it's kind of an ethnic cleansing that's going on with what they're doing. A lot of people are on both sides of this. So I'm not going to tell you your side is right or your side is wrong, but a lot of people have opinions. So she was fired by the movie production company. She's been dropped from the movie for a tweet on her own personal time. And this is the problem. The right is too perfect and the left is too stupid. You know, they cancel everything that is minorly bad. You are on a public platform and you write a tweet about something you care about to spread the word. You know, with her nationality, she's, I don't know the exact nationality. Because, well, I'm just not that good at that stuff. So, but, I'll throw it up here real quick.
What was
It's not
she
the tweet
discussing?
itself, but that's her. She did it. I'm trying to see if I can actually find the tweet in here.
So was she speaking for or against the Hamas?
I got to see the exact tweet.
She's talking about Palestinians.
Yeah. Actually, I have to go for the tweet itself. So, but why are we canceling every single thing that disagrees with us? Every person, anything.
Because
you can't
that's
have opinion.
that's the society we are living in. It's
Because
cancel
everything's a
culture.
business.
If it doesn't fit the narrative, then it doesn't belong.
I'm going to take this off screen for a minute. And that's it. But we just cancel. We just get rid of them. Here we are. Okay.
So I've said this before while we did our show about cancel culture. I do think for some situations it is taken too far. However, I do think in some situations that some people or some things do need to be canceled because it's just bad. If that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
if Hitler was around,
Sure.
yeah, we should cancel him. Things like that. If we're talking like, there was a comedian that's like getting canceled right now, because he just had his first Netflix special come out, and his whole platform before all of this was he got really famous for doing little shows because his crowd work was great because he's a very attractive man.
Are you talking about Matt Rife?
He's the new Dane Cook.
Yeah. So Matt Rife, like his entire fan base was just women, and he did great in his crowd work talking to women. And then his Netflix special comes out, and he says, "This show's for the guys." Opens up with a domestic violence joke, and it's like, it's kind of gross that you thought that all these men would find that funny, and he's like literally talking about punching a girl in the face. Like, it's so bad.
Yeah.
But that's
Like, that's not something that's funny. Like, I don't see how that would be funny for anyone.
But that's opening a show that is in the public, and something people paid to see. That's part of your act. That's like a TV show doing a comic show, anything like that. That's fine. But on your personal time,
No, and I do agree with you that like they're taking she shouldn't have been fired. She put a tweet out on her own page. It's not like she tweeted, "We need a new ethnic cleansing." Like, that would have been a different situation. You know what I mean?
Right. And in Matt Rife's case, he is.
Can I
not-
add something to this?
yeah, go ahead really quick because you'll get a delay.
To what?
Go ahead.
All right. The tweet thing, I kind of want to talk about that really quick.
Okay, go ahead.
I don't think whatever people put on their own social media, I think that should not be held accountable during their job or anything. It's their opinion. We all have opinions. All because you don't agree with it does not mean anything. And that's the way we should go back to. I don't see why we're making people's opinion really matter. I mean, it does, but at the same time, it shouldn't affect your life at all for having an opinion. What was the other thing? I forgot what was the other subject or topic.
Well, Joe,
we were
to go
talking
off
about.
of what you just said, like, I do agree
now.
with you. It shouldn't affect your job performance, but at the same time, like,
Oh, people have being too sensitive for making dark jokes.
Continue.
I don't see how a domestic violence joke is funny, though. I don't think that I'm being too like, I've never been punched in the face by a dude, but I still don't find that I still don't see how that could be funny. Like, that's
Right, and
just
it's not,
awful.
That's not his typical show. His typical show is not like glorifying
All right,
domestic
well, okay.
violence.
Well, hang on. This is what I just want to get into. Okay.
What are you laughing for?
All right. What I want to get into was about that joke. Maybe he wasn't writing for everyone. Maybe he was just writing it for sick people. I mean, I make jokes to sick people all the time, and I don't really mean it. It's just jokes. I think people are taking things way too seriously, way too far. I mean, it's jokes. I mean, yeah, maybe it's not funny to you, but maybe it's funny to the person next to you. Maybe that
Joe,
joke
and
was
I
not
totally
just written
get
for
what
you.
you're saying, but it's different when someone like
You don't
you
gotta
who
agree
doesn't have
with
a
it. You really
huge
don't.
platform
Just let it
makes that type
go.
of joke versus someone who does have a that's different. If you make the joke, it's not as big of a deal than if someone whose entire fan base up until that point was women makes that joke. And then when people came at him, it was like, hey, that joke wasn't fucking funny. Like, what are you talking about? He puts out a tweet saying, hey, if you didn't find that joke funny, you can send your complaints here. And it was a link to buy a helmet for a special needs person.
That's funny.
That's
Anyway,
not fucking. It's not
so-
funny. That's
I'm gonna
horrible.
get to it in a minute. I'm gonna get to it in a minute on why it is, but I want to hear Nikki's rebuttal. What she was going to say about first.
I sort of kind of forgot. I was just saying, like, his typical show, which not jumping ahead. I see what Kim had said.
Yeah, we're gonna go through those in a second.
Yeah.
Nikki, if you full screen like I do, you can't jump ahead. I have to do that, or I will jump ahead.
I'm gonna
His
get to the
typical
comments in a
show,
moment.
while he can be crude and rude at times, I've never seen it geared towards domestic violence. And so if he's doing a show that is attracting people who find a joke about domestic violence funny, I guess that comes from the crude and rude. I personally don't find it funny, and I was a fan of Matt Rife's.
I was too before this happened. I was like, that's not fucking funny.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to go see his show live, and I ended up not doing it. And I'm so happy I didn't, because the tickets were super, like I was working that day, blah, 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 blah. Because he was in Grand Rapids and I was going to go. And I'm so happy I didn't, because this tour he was on was the Netflix special that just came out. And like, I probably would have been like, fuck this. And I probably would have just fucking left, because that's not funny.
There's a certain line in comedy where it goes from being funny to like just downright beyond vulgar, even like, because sometimes they can get vulgar, but it's still funny. This
right,
is like,
100%.
Let me go through this.
It was pushing it too far.
If I can, let me go through these comments really quick.
Yeah, get to the comments.
It's going to circle back to the Matt Rife. I just want to get to the other ones that are in here. To acknowledge them, Kim Wilde says, more often than you think a child is born with both sex organs, because we were talking about that earlier, and the parents make the choice of which they will be, whether surgically or verbally, is something. And that's fine. That's a different kind of choice. And I don't necessarily think it's their right to choose, but I think the child might have a harder time trying to go through life that way. So there's a little exception to the rule. To each their own on that. I can't really say I feel one's right or wrong.
And I feel like you can't have a feeling on that unless you have a child born like that, or you are a person. Like, I can't have an opinion on that. I know nothing about, And
that's fair. That's kind of where I am. We were talking about Melissa Barrera and Scream. Kim knows what I'm talking about here. She says others dropped from the movie too. The main lead, Jenna Ortega, dropped from the series, and she was second main lead. They were kind of equals. She actually did that before the tweet happened. So that was expected on there, and they still don't know if they're getting anybody returned. She says that Melissa is Mexican. I remember her saying something as a Latino American or something like that, and that's why I wasn't sure in the actual nationality. One of her posts, Kim also says she's met Matt Rife. He's not a nice person, actually. I've seen him on talk shows. Aside from that, he's not. And his typical show is insulting his audience. Now, this is where I have a problem with everything you girls just said. You went to see, or you wanted to go see Matt Rife. Have you watched him? He insults. How can you love all these insults, want to get tickets to go see him, but that one crossed the line, so now I hate you? He's made a career
because there's different degrees, Keith. There's it's different if I walk up to someone and say, I don't like your shoes, and someone could say that's insulting, and it's different than I hate your fucking face and I think you should die. That's far more insulting than me saying I don't like your shoes. There's different levels, and I think he went overboard, is all I'm saying.
But that's
I don't think he's the first comedian to insult the audience as part of his his thing. He may be the first comedian to be outed for being as arrogant and, condescending as some can be.
And before this show, his fan base was primarily women.
Well, that's
and now he's
women.
That's all.
No, but he knew that, and that's why he was like, "I'm changing it up. This one's for the guys. Let's talk about punching girls in the face." So it's like a lot of men I know too that thought he was funny. Yeah, a lot of men I know.
First. He's not, but I think he's one of the first recently to be a new up-and-coming comedian in this politically correct world. To go back to the old school way comics used to tell jokes.
No, because you can say things that aren't completely PC and it can still be funny. Like Tom Segura does it all the time. He gets up to that boundary, doesn't cross it. Bert Kreischer does it all the time. He gets up there, doesn't cross it. It's a fine line, and unfortunately, unfortunately you can only find what that line is one way, but if your fan base is primarily women, I don't know why you would post, you would say something like that and then be like, oh, I'm getting canceled now. Of course you are. You just insulted every single one of your fans all at the same time.
Kim says here, Kim's not wrong. He calls women bitches all the time.
I call women bitches too, and they're being bitches.
So if you do it, it's okay, but if he does something you don't do, it's not.
It's not like he's saying no, because he never says all women are bitches.
Oh, he has.
Well, now
he totally has. He insults races. He insults gays. He insults lesbians. He insults everybody he can. It's part of his shtick. And you're picking one thing that. Oh, wait, and this is where I'm getting at it with a lot of these issues. You're picking one thing, I'm against this, so I'm against him entirely. Be a fucking Andrew Dice Clay. Andrew Dice Clay did this shit a long time before, and you know what? If you found him offensive and you didn't like him, you didn't watch him.
Yes.
You didn't go see him. You didn't
No,
No,
give him
I
money.
know, but that's why that's why I just wanted to touch on the whole cancel culture part of it, because everyone's like, oh, it's cancel culture. Cancel culture is horrible, blah, 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 blah. If I don't want to pay money to watch him, I shouldn't have, I don't think he's funny anymore, so I'm not going to watch him. But some people would say, oh, I'm canceling him. It's like, I get to pick who I see and who I don't see.
Sure.
Like, that's what cancel culture is. If you don't want to
Go
see it
somewhere
anymore,
else
you
with
don't
that. I'm
watch
not
it.
going to. But you absolutely right. As a person, you can pick what you want to do. You can pick what you want to support, what you want
I'm
to see.
not saying everyone on this panel should boycott Matt Rife. I'm just saying I think
But
he's
people
kind of an
are.
asshole.
He is an asshole, but some people like it. And Drina said the comment with it, that's not funny, it's evil, with a special helmet. And the reason I say it's funny is because I grew up in that shit. You could poke fun at things because you knew it was a joke.
No, I know, but you can't poke fun at it if you're not close to that.
I need a fucking helmet. I am close to that, okay?
Well, like he says that my best fucking friend in the whole world had twin boys. One of them had to wear a helmet because there wasn't enough room in the womb, so he had to wear a helmet for a little bit. And like she was like devastated by that. Like that's a horrible thing to say.
It is, but that's what he does. And the reason I say it can be funny versus evil isn't even about how I feel. It's the fact that if you like that kind of humor, to you, it's funny. And people who like that kind of humor are why he's famous. So, of course, he's going to keep pushing the envelope. That's how they make it. Look
No,
at the
but
shit
Keith,
South
you're
Park
not
does in
listening
its
to me.
25th season.
No, you're not listening to me. I was saying that his entire fan base was women, and then he
Wait.
insulted all of them. I get it. If that's your shtick, do your shtick. He fucked his shtick.
Yeah, but to be fair, like he said, he had been insulting women for a while. I mean, it's his thing. However, it was just like that crossed line. But
Yeah.
that just could be like, I mean, it's a sensitive issue, really.
Yeah.
Brought up Andrew
He was,
Dice
but
Clay.
like he said, he was pushing that envelope. Like that's just, that's how he makes his money. He's got to change his joke somehow, and he felt safe saying it in a group of men, like as if like a nudge, bro. Like let's go punch some bitches in
I'm
the
gonna pull
face.
But I
back
had
a little on
I have a
this.
couple of friends who are men who thought he was funny up until that too, and they're like, I'm even more offended. Like I'm super offended too because he thought by saying that I would like him more.
See, that is how we used to respond in society. If we stopped paying attention, you became irrelevant, and that's how you were canceled. You weren't told to boycott somebody. You just said, I'm not interested anymore. If you weren't interested, sales dropped. Eventually, you were a thing of the past. That's how we didn't. We didn't get everybody outraged because you came to see that kind of comedian. She brought up Andrew Dice Clay almost simultaneously, I think, when I said it. I think we responded to each other. Was one of the most popular comedians of his time. And she says your local Michigan comedian, because I'm from Michigan, I think most of us are, your local Michigan comedian was just insults, and everyone came to see him, who was Jim Freeman. Another great point. Another great person. And if you
Who's
don't
Jim
like
Freeman?
him, don't watch him.
comedian?
He's is he the insult comic? Which one is he? He's a raunchy comedian. I don't remember. He's got like another name he goes by. He's not the insult comic dog, is he?
And I also think a lot of Matt Rife's things beforehand, where he was insulting people, it was still in a more playful way than this.
Yes.
I
Yes.
agree
like-
with that.
Because, like, you can insult a group of people in still a playful type of way.
Yeah, that's like the fun
That's
banter
still funny. It's still funny.
with a stage comedian, if they're able to play with the audience and
Yeah,
I
the
mean,
crowd work. Yeah.
how else is he gonna do it? Like by being nice to him? No, but people aren't gonna like find that funny if he's just like
100%.
beautiful.
Yeah, 100%.
I know Jim Free. I'm trying to figure it out. You'll have to look him up. He was
Yeah, I'll have
exactly
to.
that, a raunchy comedian. And he had some of the humor for the time, too. But back then, you had Richard Pryor. Did you ever hear him? Eddie Murphy.
Oh yeah, Eddie
like this
Murphy
shit.
was
This was Andrew Dice, as we said. It was so common. And
Tosh
he became
2.0, the
irrelevant.
entire
Tosh
show
2.0.
was that. It was
100%.
overboard.
It's too much.
Where do we lie, though? Do we lie in the point that we are afraid anybody goes overboard and get bored? Or do we do like we did with Matt Rife and say this guy pushes the envelope, let's support him. But if he pushes it too far that we feel, let's boycott him. You know, I know you're not saying that specifically, but that's what some people are saying.
Right.
Like, you want people to push the envelope, but you want them to know their limits. And if pushing the envelope is going to keep making me money and growing me fans, I'm going to see how far I can push it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Which I get, which is why I'm saying it was different beforehand, because beforehand, at least in my opinion, he was a little bit more playful with the way he went about it. And I'll end it at that.
I'm going to try to be quiet for a moment because Teresa and, well, first, Drina loves Tosh. Don't hate me. I love Tosh, actually. I laugh every time I watch
And
the
if you
show.
find him funny, that's awesome. That's dope.
Kim's got a great point because I want to let Gabe and Teresa talk. They've been really quiet over this little battle here. So I want to give them a moment to address it before we move on. But Kim also says, and this is a great point, your panelists are picking and choosing what is insulting for them, and you can't choose for everybody. And that's kind of where I'm trying to get the point.
Oh, which is what I
across.
said. I don't
know?
I think anyone should boycott whoever the fuck they want to. This is just
And
what
yeah,
I'm
if
doing.
you don't want to watch them, if you don't want to see them, fine. I mean,
Sweet.
you're missing a lot of great humor. Even when I watched Eddie Murphy, when I watched Andrew Dice Clay, there were some jokes that made me laugh and some jokes I felt went too far. But I still enjoyed the parts where I laughed because that's what you need in life.
And that's a beautiful thing. We all have our own opinions.
Absolutely.
That's
and
the best
nobody
part.
has to. But so I'm going to let Teresa first because she's been the most quiet here. She's like absorbing here. Do you want to weigh in on this at all?
I don't know. I was just kind of taking everything in. I do think that there's certain words I don't want to hear. There's certain words that I don't like. Certain things, like Elena said, I don't think are funny. I don't think that's a joke. But if I know a comedian is one who that's the kind of jokes they tell, then I just don't listen to them. Like, I just, avoid them. And I like stand-up comedy. I have a lot of comedians that I really like and I enjoy, and I listen to those people. But if they say something that I think is just, out of pocket, then I quit listening to them.
Right.
And I think that when we get in the mindset now where it's like, oh, well, because I don't like them, nobody should like them. I do think that that's part of our, human nature, that we want that camaraderie of like, hey, they made me mad. You should be mad at them too.
Right.
And
We're
want
best
that,
friends. Now we hate them.
Yes.
Yeah.
We want that validation that what I'm thinking and saying that is wrong is wrong just because I think it. But I think that that's where the cancel culture has just taken it to the nth degree that I don't know. I find it kind of interesting that we think that our opinion is that weighty and that important that we can cancel out a whole human being.
Right.
That's where I think people got to draw the line. And
Right.
I mean, we're kind of responsible for the same thing we were talking about earlier when we do that so vocally, whether on our social media or something, the fact that we're taking an issue that should be our choice and we're expressing it so loudly that it becomes a topic of conversation and all people focus on. And we should be allowed to express ourselves absolutely in every way. But that's kind of what everybody's doing with everything instead of focusing on things that really matter. Like, if I watch a comedian that offends me, I want to remember the laughter. I'm offended. I didn't like that routine. George Carlin was one. I didn't like.
He
some
was
of the
for
George-
sure one.
He did some
He had
things
some
with
shit.
religion. And I'm not religious. He did some things with religion that I was kind of bothered by. I don't think you should always pick on people's religions like that. I thought they were wrong. But some of the other shit he did was so funny. I got to take the good with the bad. You can't pick that one thing and be like, no, I don't like you now because you said one thing. You gave me so many good times and laughter, things I repeat to other people. It was a great time. Drina says, I love the panel. You get different perspectives, which is very important instead of blindly lead. And that's what I think is missing because you got to discuss things. You got to get things out in the open. I said I was going to go over to Gabe, and I still am. Gabe, do you want to weigh on this before we move on?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I love comedy. I've always tried to use it and everything like that. And I always watch stand-up, things like that. For me, in this type of situation, it's all situational, right? So I used to laugh at the bulk of, a stand-up comedian's set and things like that because I didn't have sort of those situations where perhaps I knew someone who was disabled and things like that. So I might laugh at a joke 10 years ago that I wouldn't laugh at now, and I would find offense to it, things like that. So it's
We
not
learn and we grow. And,
right. It's
yeah.
not hypocrisy. It's just
Experience.
situational to everybody's experience.
Right.
I don't think anybody should get canceled. But yeah, I mean, if that person is not for you, then you just move on, and you're not a fan of them anymore. You know,
Right.
I
they
100% believe that.
it comes with the controversy of let's get everybody on the same bandwagon in order to cancel somebody, and I don't handle things like that. You know, I'll watch, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. If it's too much of stuff, one joke here, one joke there, it's going to be a miss for me, but I'll stick with them for a little bit because comedians aren't perfect every time. They don't know.
You have to test waters.
That's the whole point of reading the room and things like that. So, but at the same time, if somebody was to say something like that nowadays about the helmet, or somebody with palsy or epilepsy, which so many comedians make fun of epilepsy and cerebral palsy, those are the ones that most comedians feel safe to sort of attack or parody. Then yeah, now at that point it offends me because I've got some clarity and some experience on the matter. Yeah.
That's really true. Joe, before we move on to the next topic, do you have anything else to add to this? We'll twiddle.
Kind of. Kind of want to talk about, like, I guess we're setting up a double standard a little bit. For example, if a suicidal person makes a suicidal joke, then that's fine. But if a non-suicidal person makes a suicidal joke, then that's wrong. It's pretty. That's how I look at the making the joke with the helmet. I think, would you tell him knock it off with that joke, or would you tell him whatever, let him carry on with that joke? That's how I look at the joke. I believe anyone should be able to make any kind of joke as they want, because it's just a joke. As long as they're not actually doing and harming people, so what? It's your feelings that got hurt. Get over it. And that's my
I get
opinion
what
on
you're
it.
saying, but feelings getting hurt leads to mental health issues, and it leads to other dying things. Like yes, it is comedy, but it could become to be not just comedy if you're hurting so many people's feelings. Is what I'm saying.
We got a few more comments I want to get to, but I actually think Joe made a fantastic point with that, because you have these comedians with cerebral palsy, these special needs comedians and stuff like that, whatever you want to call them, and they make fun of the same thing. And you can laugh at them or their jokes.
You can laugh
or
with them.
or with them, that's fine. But the joke is the same. Regardless of who told it, it is the same joke. There's
See,
not a right to laugh at one and not the other, because both of them, when the mentally however you can say it now, but the one with the issue makes the joke, he laughs at it because he knows it's a joke. When somebody without that issue makes the joke, it's the same joke and they know it's not true. It's said for the comedy aspect of it. And to down one because they don't understand humor, but the other's okay because they live through it so it can be funny for them, that is a double standard.
I mean, it is a double standard, but it's kind of the same thing as, like, it in my opinion, it's the same thing as, like, people using the N-word. I think it's fine for black people to use the N-word, and I think it's really fucked up for white people to use the N-word.
And I don't think that's fair. I think that's a double standard, 100%. If
Well,
you're doing it for comedy
fair.
and you understand it as a joke, I think that it should be allowed. Now, as far as black people saying nigger to each other or something like that, then that's different in your own friend group and stuff like that, or just basically the way they talk. But if they're emphasizing the word as part of their act, then others should be able to emphasize that word as part of their act in some ways as well. I'm not saying directly insult the race or say these people are bad or anything, but you got to separate it because they're saying it's okay. If I make a fat joke and I'm constantly making fat jokes and then somebody makes fun of me because I'm fat, I can't expect that joke to suddenly be unfunny because I didn't say it.
No, and I get what you're saying. All I'm saying is, like, with that same example, if I was a comedian and I go on stage and my whole shtick is I hate fat people, which I don't, but if that's my whole thing, I think it's okay for fat people to cancel me. You know what I mean?
But
that's
if
all
that
I'm
fat
saying.
person makes those
I
same
think if
jokes,
Matt
I
Rife
don't
makes
think
a
it is.
joke about beating the fuck out of women, I'm allowed to hate him for that.
Okay,
Yeah, nobody's arguing that.
No, I agree. You can totally hate him.
Yeah, and that's all I'm saying.
But with the fat joke, somebody makes a fat joke, you don't think it's right for the fat person to cancel you. I think that's only viable if they haven't been making the same kind of jokes and pretty much shown to the world I'm okay with it. And by the same token, if you're saying you can't talk about it because you haven't experienced it, the people wanting to cancel these people have not experienced it either.
But I think you guys are talking about two different things. You're talking about canceling in its entirety. She's talking about canceling on an individual level.
I'm
So
I'm
you
using
both
for
are-
this one situation.
So you
I'm just
guys are on
using
the
the
same page.
Yeah, we're
So
saying the same thing
You're
in a
saying
different
the same
font.
thing. So
Yeah, that's one way to put it. We'll go with that. Moving
Yeah.
on to Drina. She says, Overlooked, she's just listening, no comment. By the way, those that don't know, Drina does some really amazing music she posts every once in a while. It's really cool. It's very serene. It's mesmerizing. It's just like background
Ooh.
stuff. She does like poetry during. It's really cool. If you ever get a chance and you friend Drina, because she's absolutely awesome.
gonna
Rhonda's
do
here.
that
Rhonda,
right
we
now.
absolutely love you.
hi, Rhonda.
Anna, she says, do you think that Matt learned a lesson, like a one and done, or is this going to be his new norm? With the amount of publicity, personally, I think it's going to be a norm. Are we allowed to make a mistake and bounce back from it? And the reason I think it's going to be a
sure.
norm, from my point of view, is because it sells.
I think
Every
it's going to
time
be a new
president
norm
does
because
shit,
he
it gets
doubled
worse.
down with the helmet thing.
Or a celebrity does. Yeah, that's the thing. And you're going to have a side that says it's about time somebody said stuff like this because that's fun. And they're going to follow them. You're going to lose some originals. You're going to gain some new ones. I mean, is Bud Light still in business?
Yes.
Yes,
they are.
Is Nike still going?
Yeah.
Or is Adidas one? It's going to happen. I think he's going to be just fine. He's a hot young comedian that does things that most
That
comedians
now
are afraid
women
to
don't
do.
listen to him anymore. I don't think he's
Some.
going to be fine at all.
So we,
I mean, maybe. I don't
But
know.
I do think it'd be totally different if he came out and was just like, hey, I said a joke. It didn't stick. I'm sorry. I see what you guys are saying. Moving on. Like, that would have been a totally different situation, but he doubled down. And then instead of just making the domestic violence joke, then went into, well, let's also now call out a whole nother community. It's like he wants less people to like him. Like, I feel like if
support
you're a
him doubling
famous,
down.
no, which is fine.
The reason is I think too many people here don't stand by their own words in this world right now. I think they're willing to change who they are and their actual opinions just to try to please others. I think it's important that people say, hey, that's what I meant. It was offensive. I'm sorry I offended you, but that is my kind of humor. I'm sorry I offended you, but that is my opinion. I'm getting tired of, politically it happens all the time, where people just flip-flop from side to side based on what people want. How about you show us the real you? That's what this show's built on. Why not you let us know, hey, that's the kind of comedian I am. I'm doubling down. I'm backing up what I said. If you're going to offend somebody, stand by it.
No, and I do get what you're saying, Keith, and I do agree with you. All I'm saying is that I do think he could have like bounced back to regain the people who did like him before the joke, who then didn't, if he did apologize. That's all I'm saying.
My main point kind of with that was was in response to Rhonda's comment, was the fact that you're going to get people that are going to respect the fact that he doubled down on it, and you're going to lose people that are going to be upset that you doubled down on it. I
Right.
think he's just going to shift bases. I think he's
Right.
going to be just fine.
No, and that's fine.
That's kind of where I was going with it. Kim says she's a 5'10" redhead showgirl.
5'10"
I
too.
know, I know, but do you see that picture? Like, damn.
No, I know. I don't look like
she's
Kim.
told
We
I'm
all know
gorgeous.
that, okay?
Like, I'm like, no, I mean, obviously she's a showgirl, so she should. I surprise people with a 168 IQ. I get judged a lot, but don't judge comedians. They have their own audiences, and that's just it. If you don't want to be part of that audience, then you don't. Drina was responding to the comment about would you be offended by certain jokes if you were somebody, and it depends on the joke when you use certain words or what you say, and that's absolutely true.
It does depend on the joke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not everyone's for everyone.
You want to
That's
call
fine.
them comedians, and if not funny, I'm booing them too. And that's true. So it's got to be something you like. I mean, you are going to see a comic. Anybody want to interject in any of these? I'm going to get through a couple of them real quick.
Yeah, I
So,
mean, as far as comedians are concerned, they're gonna know right away whether or not that's the whole point of comedy is that their jokes are gonna land or they're not gonna land.
By the way, is everybody okay? I think Joe did fix his audio issue. I haven't heard it in a while, and I haven't been muting him.
Oh, yeah, I don't hear it at
Yeah,
all.
yeah,
It's
that
great.
sounds good.
You fixed it,
Yeah.
by the way. I just totally glossed over it because it was gone. I didn't even notice, but I'm like, yeah, it's been good. So you fixed it. Good job, Joe.
But as far as this kind of carries over into politics, where a lot
Thank you.
of politicians are sort of doing the same thing, and they're saying inappropriate things, about people with disabilities, or you have certain senators or politicians that are just constantly insulting people, and I think at that point, when you're a political figure that we don't have a choice of because you've been sort of elected by somebody else,
Yeah.
then that sort of changes the situation because we're forced to hear them.
This kind of mentality is infecting every aspect of our world now.
Yeah,
So heavily.
it's the ego. It's ego at
We are
large.
fighting egos more than anything.
Yeah.
Kim says that black people can call white people cracker and no reprisals, and that's not right. And whereas I kind of agree with you because that is a double standard, we could have a whole show on double standards for sure.
We should do that.
That people, I was thinking that. I think she's kind of got a topic going for us. We're going to have to hit double standards up soon. That's
But
a good point.
But a comedian actually brought this up. I can't remember which one it was, but cracker does not have the same emphasis
I understand
As the
that.
N-word
as
does.
the N-word. There's a long history to that. Like, I don't care, I guess, either way, but I can see both sides of that.
Everybody, does anybody remember like elementary school? Do you remember sticks and stones may break my bones, but words can never hurt me?
100%.
When did we forget
course.
that?
As soon as we created the internet.
Facts. Well said.
Yeah.
That
Because
was a quick,
we-
right answer.
Because we left it in high school. And now we never leave it. Now
Yeah, that's-
The
we
that's
internet's just
definitely
one
true.
big high school that we're all going to.
Yeah. It's high school. It's high school status for the rest of your fucking life. That's it, right? Social media
No,
is
thank you.
high school
Oh,
for the rest
100%.
of your life.
1,000%.
That's
Yeah.
it.
1,001%.
And it's expanded
2,000%.
to
Win. I'm not going
and
higher.
it's expanded to a global status organism. That's what it is. That's what
100%.
life is now.
Yep.
Drina says she keeps getting kicked off. Don't worry, we're still going to be here for you. Well, that happens.
We never leave.
We don't. Kim says Matt Rife has become a cocky bastard with his popularity, but he's still going to fill any place he goes, and that's what they do. You're going to lose some, you're going to gain others. You're gonna do just fine because people like it. I mean, it was asked earlier by I believe Drina, who said, "Are you surprised that Trump's so far ahead?" Trump did lose a lot of his supporters, but he gained new ones.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I said I
Wow.
wasn't.
Yeah, it's people will do it. It's people even as small as my business at the bar. People aren't ever coming back. Go ahead, we're gonna fill the seats. No fucking problem.
But
You
it,
know.
at that point, it's fandom. It has nothing to do with
Policy.
politics or
Right.
policy.
Right.
It's you being a fan of that person. You know what I mean? So if everybody loved Tom Hanks and he said something shitty,
He said fucker
But-
right in the pussy.
right, or made
Or something.
made the joke against the reporter with disabilities, which I had a problem with. But half of your people still like that, and they carry it over. The problem is that most of these rallies and things like that, it's all about the merchandise, right? It's all about the hats, all about the shirts, all about the big blue
By the-
lettering.
A
Yeah.
totally separate conversation. I'm going to stop doing topics partly here. We're going to have topics, but I'm going to start because this is what the show should be. It should be able to shift and move around a lot of ways, and we'll still focus on one. But I'm not going to essentially do focus topic shows of just what we know in advance we're going to talk about, because this is a great conversation. I
Yeah,
really
if the
don't wanna
chat's
cut it.
taking us,
Yeah. So,
Run
Yeah.
And that's what the show's about. That's what I like. Alrighty then. So which one was that, Drina? I think it was. I don't know which one it was. That comment was too. It was probably Joe. We just don't like Joe. I'm just kidding, Joe. We love you. Kim also says, "Forget sticks and stones in junior high school. Words will fight." Okay. God, I am truly a guy sometimes, because I'm looking at that picture, I'm thinking about you fighting, and I've got this Showgirls thing with Elizabeth Berkley kicking ass, and just good memory. Thank you.
I've never seen that movie.
Oh my God, the movie's absolutely awful.
It looks
When
awful.
Elizabeth Berkley kicks the guy's ass, it's amazing. It's
can
a
I bring
great
up
scene.
something while we're still talking about Trump for like 2 seconds? It has nothing to do with Trump. It's just talking about a different politician.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's not even about his politics either. Does anyone else believe that Ron DeSantis is wearing secret heels in his boots? Have you guys seen that on the internet?
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
Okay, so there's a theory. If you ever watch Ron DeSantis walk around, it looks like the whole top half of his boots are empty, and he's wearing secret heels inside of them to make himself look taller. Like lifts, but times 10. Like, he walks weird, and his boots look weird.
Did I miss a comment from Drina somewhere in there?
I mean,
Drina, did I miss
didn't
one of
they
your
recently
comments? I didn't mean
come
to.
out? Didn't they recently come out like an invention for that?
I mean, probably. And Ron DeSantis has probably been the one testing it out.
I don't know, but
I
now
could
I
have
want to
sworn.
look up a video.
Well, no, I could have sworn
You
I
can
saw
even just
that
look
like
up a
not that
picture
long
of him
ago
standing.
that
He
someone was
looks
putting
weird.
like certain stuff. Someone's like putting certain stuff in their boot.
Yeah.
Keith,
was
if you
it?
had
Oh,
the
wait, didn't Prince
technology,
do that?
would you... Prince would have just worn the heels, though.
True. Yeah, platform.
And he did.
For sure.
Yeah, Prince wore heels all the time.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, Keith, if you could pull up a picture of Ron DeSantis in his boots, just standing.
Okay.
It looks weird. It's suspicious. And he went on a podcast recently after the whole internet started talking about this. And I don't remember whose podcast it was, but they were like, hey, there's this rumor going on. Like, how crazy. Haha. I got you these tennis shoes. Could you put them on for me? And immediately he was like, I can't take gifts. Nope, not going to do that. And like every time the guy brought it up again, he's like, no, we're moving on.
Wow.
And he was like
Yeah.
smiling and laughing the whole time. And the second the dude brought it up, he's like straight faced. It's a little suspicious. Just because, like, dude, if you're a little on the short side, like, who gives a shit?
I mean, there he is.
Look at the top parts of his boots.
I know.
There's
I know.
not foot in there.
It's like genie slippers.
There's not
It
foot in there.
does.
It
Seriously,
looks
though, look at the
suspicious.
other people's shoes and then look at his.
Right.
They
That's
look so
weird.
suspicious.
I feel
Maybe
like
he has
it
duck
is.
feet.
You know,
And
kind
look
of-
at his leg proportion in relation to his torso. He's got long legs, suspiciously long legs.
This headline just pisses me off. It's kind of like what we're talking about. Ron DeSantis wearing hidden platform heels inside his stupid, ugly boots.
An investigation.
An investigation. Is this what we need to focus on?
No,
I mean, for
100% we
us-
don't need to focus
No,
on it.
for
I just
us,
thought it was
it's fine.
funny.
It doesn't seem like a biased article at all.
Yeah, no.
It's
For us, it's
stupid.
funny.
Ugly
Stupid,
boots.
ugly boots.
I'm okay with us focusing on it because for us, it's funny. That's what we're talking about. Shit like that.
Because, like, that's just
No,
funny,
he's
dude. If
definitely
you're
wearing like a heel in there.
right, if you're
Yeah,
a little
definitely.
short, like, who gives a fuck? Be a spokesperson for the short king community. Let that be in your advantage. You know what I mean?
But
Like,
then if he
come
was
on.
short, they'd say he had a Napoleon complex automatically.
Right. Yeah.
I mean,
that-
which is
maybe that's why-
true. And I know nothing about being a short man, so like, probably fair. But still, secret heels. Just wear the heels. Who cares?
His
I mean,
mask
but
is his
imagine
inserts.
like
But
feeling
his
like you had to
constituents
do that
wouldn't like
and,
it
and
if it
conceal
was public.
I feel bad. I'm trying to find if I missed something with Trina that I didn't say.
No, I think
Well, I feel like if he wore the heels, it would probably not look good depending on his party he's playing on.
No, but
of
that's the
course.
thing. I feel like if he just wore the heels, I feel like some Democrats would get behind him.
Oh shoot, I missed.
Yeah,
it.
but then
He'd win
that's
over
not-
the gay community.
But that's not what he wants.
No, I know.
Yeah, but he's also risking losing his Republican. Well, he's also risking losing his Republican fan base.
No, 100%. I totally get what you're saying, Joe.
Yeah.
100% agree with that. Kim also says she kicked ass in high school, Taekwondo and Aikido, still trained 3rd and 4th. Damn, okay, girl.
Good for you, Kim.
I like you, Kim. That's kind of that. Yeah, I like that. I was like, she also responds, I don't know about the picture, but they have boots where the toes are elongated and curl up. A lot of actors and actresses wear some kind of heels for lifts. I know that's kind of what I was meaning with the headline, the investigation, the joke. I mean, obviously, it's not real investigation going on or anything, I hope. But it's not as uncommon just because it is to us.
Right.
No,
Imagine-
100%. Brandon and
imagine
I
a
were just
cop show
laughing
about
about it. What'd you say?
I said, can you imagine a cop show where it was just like based on
Investigation about
investigation.
secret heels.
and like
Investigation
CSI,
heel inserts.
CSI
on true
forum
crime.
and things like that. Yeah.
No, just one night,
Law and
Brandon and I
Order.
were like overserved or something, and we were joking about it. Just because, and Brandon has no room to talk. He's 6'8", so it's
I would
really
probably
easy.
start watching TV again.
There you go.
There's some crazy shit on there, but that shit gonna fuck you up. TV can be messed up nowadays. It is the things that people focus on, though, and she's right.
Why
It's
are
not
you
a big
in
deal to focus on shoes,
My
but
room.
Chill.
Get out.
not to offend anybody, but I mean,
You have
it's
your room.
retarded.
Go to it.
Couldn't do it. Sorry about that.
Oh, you're okay. All right, there we go.
And like
Tried to-
100%, Brandon has no room to talk about people being short. He's 6'8", so he has no idea what people that are short go through and all of that jazz. But we were overserved, and we were laughing and making jokes. And Brandon goes, the funniest part about it is that if you look him up online, he's 5'9". So his heels make him 5'9". Like, he's not out here trying to be like 6'4" or anything.
Yeah.
You have to forgive me a second here.
He's an underachiever.
Muting his
Yes.
mic is even giving me a delay.
So to not make it suspicious.
Right.
Right.
Does the candidates fight really matter?
No, the candidates don't matter
Does-
at all.
you
And
know, no, not with you guys. Not with you guys. Just in general. I mean, are these with what's coming up? We didn't do the election show because so many things were changing, and I wanted to wait till the current election was over before really hitting hard on it. And I still want to, with what we've done with our discourse lately. But as I started the show, where do we stop? What's the line where it just shouldn't matter anymore? Why can we not focus on things? We already said that it sells. We already said that, it sells. But aren't we smarter as people?
Not
no.
anymore. No.
Maybe we are.
I don't want to believe we're the only 6 out here, plus the ones in the chat, because they're all smart and genius, and we love having them on here.
Absolutely. Us and them. That's it.
That's it. And clearly, I'm not one of the smart folks. I'm the one reading all the tabloids, giving you guys all this information.
Kim asked a question, what is the point of your podcast? Honestly, the whole point is just to talk about issues, sometimes deep, sometimes not so deep, but to be able to give an open opinion and have discourse within our own group and with you guys, so you have a voice to be heard, so you can say what's on your mind, and we can actually talk about it. We can run discussion points, and people in this group are free to join a podcast just by messaging one of us, and we can get you on the panel with our guest. It's really just an idea that you're not alone in a lot of ways, whether it be mental health, whether it be about opinions that one may have, that you can disagree, that you can be different, and you can still get through life, and you can be suffering sometimes. We don't see it very often on here, but we've had some very deep shows that we've been through traumatic incidents, and we show that you can laugh and you can have fun and you can get through it. Most of our topic shows delve further into the topic, but the chat will always steer the show. So if somebody wants to talk about different things and bring it up, we will work with the chat because we're here to share with you and for you to share with us. It's supposed to be very unique, open, natural people in a natural environment, just being themselves and not afraid to say things.
And I think one thing that is really unique about this podcast is that a lot of us have differing views on things. So it's never, I mean, hopefully it never comes off as just preachy. And I feel like in some of our episodes last season, it showed that a lot. Like we did a whole political episode last season where Nikki and I were at it. You know what I mean? Nikki and I disagree politically on a lot of things, which is great because we can still have that conversation and still, different perspectives on things.
As Drina had said on here, she says she loves the panel. Drina's one of our regular viewers. She says you get different perspectives, which is important instead of watching a show where they're blindly telling you one side or the other.
We are
we're
the blind
also-
leading the blind, but with different
Kinda, yeah.
perspectives.
Sometimes.
We are, and we hope it comes through well. We hope that that's what people get out of it. We've got a lot of people that really enjoy it. When we get on our deep topics, we get very deep sometimes, and we go dark, and other people experience some of the stuff we experience, and they think they're alone in it, or they feel that their voice doesn't matter. If they say what their opinion is, they get ridiculed, made fun of, blocked, eliminated from a friend group, anything. And we show you're allowed to have an opinion. There's nothing wrong with that. Not being insulting, I hope you are Ear Shoulders voice. Do you think you did anything to help anyone tonight? I don't know as much as we did. Sometimes we have moments that it is just a fun show because we don't have the topics introduced that people want to talk about. And sometimes we do have the topics, but we always give that option for them. Like every comment you make, we'll make sure we're going to post. We're going to talk about it. You're going to steer us. It's a good point. And I think some people are helped. Drina often says she likes to come here, like she said in her previous comment, because she does get a raw view from people. And people will agree or disagree. We have several people that view that have eventually become a panelist.
Yeah, most
I
of our
believe-
shows are very focused on individual topics, and for most of that, we stay on topic and sort of share our experiences regarding that. This is more sort of loosely based on a main topic, but with obviously mentioning
It can
things
go in
like
any direction.
the Scream movie and things like that. So tonight it's more topical and sort of wherever the
It was supposed to be. Sometimes we'll start a
chat
topic.
takes us.
I'll say that we have started topics that have run us on that one topic over 3 hours on a show, which we try not to do, but it does happen because they've gotten so in depth. But sometimes, it's not focusing, and people just have to talk about something different that's on their mind. Well, that's what we're here for. We want to be a part of it. And you say you're asking because you analyze things in your mind. My God, girl, do I get you? I analyze so much all the time.
That's literally my whole career.
Yeah, that's a topic for sure.
And Drina says, no, I'm ruining bathwater and running through the house. Both bath and water. And again, Kim, you love movies. You put that on there, especially horror. That's what we're here for. You want to talk about it? We usually will. Probably we're running out of time for this broadcast because we try to keep them shorter than we used to, if we can, because they used to go really long. But that's what it is.
Crazy.
Because I want people to have a place. If something's on somebody's mind, yes, we're going to talk about something regardless. But if there's something on your mind and you don't really talk to it and you want to get it out open for other people to comment on, for us to comment on and discuss, that's what we're here for. It doesn't matter what you want to talk about. If we don't understand it, we might say, I don't really understand that perspective, or I don't. If we do, we're going to relate and have some friendly discourse over it. We might agree, we might disagree. Elena will be wrong in most cases. That's about it.
Sure.
Not at all. But no, we love having people here to engage, and I hope that is coming off, is what we do. And we love having you here as well, Kim. It's really nice. You very much have engaged us.
Keith might have a little bit of a crush on you, but
A little bit. That's just like, God. Don't, because you're going to make me like a Bill. I'm not a Bill. Okay.
no, you're not.
No.
Aren't we happy?
I love that picture, though. That picture is absolutely beautiful. I really do. I think
No, it's a gorgeous
Yeah.
picture.
It does look good, but that's our main point. We did want to talk more about wearing masks and stuff like that. It just geared another direction, and that was fine because we were talking about issues that a lot of people are thinking about. And I don't know if everybody on the panel really agrees, but you go and you try to watch videos where people are talking about this stuff. They're so one-sided. They're so insulting.
It's too preachy.
It's very
Yeah.
preachy.
Yeah.
And we don't like that. We can disagree. Who's Bill? Watch any show in the past 2 years. You only need one show to understand who.
Not
Bill
last week's.
is. Definitely not. Well, last week will be that would be a weird show. That one was one we actually had a mistake of a show. It went off the rails, but we usually don't have that problem. But Bill's a really nice guy. Bill just
We love Bill.
yes, absolutely. He's one of our panelists on a lot of our shows. He's a really nice guy. He's got a lot of good things to say. But
He's a little raunchy
gets
and a little
focused
sexist.
and raunchy a little bit sometimes. So that's fair. But we allow everybody. We don't care what you believe or what you think. You have a right to your opinion. That's all there is to it.
Amen.
Yep. And we're natural people. We drink, we have fun, and we enjoy it. And we're glad you were here to join us tonight. I don't think that there's a whole lot more to do with this show particularly. We all wear masks. We didn't get to cover a lot of that.
Do we want to discuss that at all before we go?
We can go
can
through
take
it
a
real
few
quick.
minutes. Oh, yeah, sure. I mean, it's only the main topic. Let's run through it really quick.
Well,
Yeah, it's not really one you like glaze over necessarily. Maybe we can incorporate it.
Fair enough.
I was just gonna pick it up on our next show.
Yeah.
we can do that
So-
too. Part 2
Yeah.
next week.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we will focus more on this. We
I
just
did-
won't
I
start
wanna
with a
say
topic that runs
something,
away. Go ahead, Vicky.
About Kim. I have a very dear friend of mine. She was a Vegas showgirl. She's how would she probably put it? She is a recovered Vegas showgirl just because I mean, I guess her personal experiences, but nonetheless, I still think it's a very glamorous career. Can you imagine, like, just being in the spotlight every night? I want to meet Bill.
Bill
Yeah,
is
hopefully
fun.
we can.
Bill's getting a lot of fans
back.
lately.
Seriously,
Bill does
like,
have a lot of fans.
we should
'cause-
start like a Bill dating. Like we should do like what is it called? Bachelor, but for Bill.
we were going to do
that'd
that in
be
our
fun.
first season.
Really?
Yeah, we were going to do like a bachelor show in our first season.
I remember us talking about that.
I don't remember
Ronchi
now.
says I want to meet Bill. Well, Bill,
Okay.
come on, go ahead. Your head hasn't moved in forever. I don't know if you're sleeping.
I
or not.
know.
It's almost creepy.
I like see a little like twitch every now and then.
Hmm
I said something. I don't know what.
Yeah, it's
Can you guys not hear me?
We
Now
hear you.
Yeah.
Go
Now we
Your-
Hardly.
Yeah, the streaming is breaking up pretty good, but try to get
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, we definitely want you to have a voice. It's just kind of
Yeah, it's just a
technology
little
is
hard right
hindering
now.
that
You
right
good
now.
now?
I will.
It's still broken.
If we come in
Yeah, I
the future
know.
when you're on here or anything, if you hear us talking over you, just continue what you're saying because you're actually hearing what we said previously,
Yeah, like 10
and
seconds.
we are
ago.
stopped and listening to you. So you don't have to necessarily stop talking when you hear somebody else.
Technology is just the best.
It is.
Alright.
Yeah, it is.
Mountain
You
dogs.
guys put Bill
Caucasian mountain.
on OnlyFans?
dogs.
Or is that over?
I heard OnlyFans in there.
Yeah, I heard.
That's the only thing I heard.
That's all I got was OnlyFans.
Maybe we should put Bill on OnlyFans. Is that
No,
what
I
you're
was
saying?
talking about. I was asking. Yes, that.
Bill on OnlyFans?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're-
He gets some fans for there for sure. He is. Kim works part time. She makes
Yeah.
good money. Raises Caucasian mountain dogs.
That's
Are
awesome.
those are big dogs, right? Very like not scraggly. They're beautiful dogs, but they have super long hair. Correct, right, Kim?
I'm actually curious.
Yeah, are you
exactly
looking up
what it is.
Caucasian mountain dogs? Huh?
Will you give
Yeah,
us
I
a
think
picture?
that they're-
No, I'm just looking up for myself. You can all screw off.
Well, I can look it up myself too. That's what I was asking.
I'm
Should
kidding,
I?
yes, I'm giving you a picture.
200.
Share with the rest of the class, please.
Right.
I will.
Are you gonna do this?
I mean, the best I can, whichever one I can find. So let's add that one there. But that's Caucasian. That's a
Oh.
shepherd dog. I'm
Aw.
assuming that's probably the same one.
Aww.
It almost looks like part of the Saint Bernard family.
That's what I
Yeah.
was thinking when I
Yeah.
first saw it.
Oh,
Yeah.
pretty dog.
Very beautiful.
She says her
220
male is
pounds,
220
yeah.
Holy shit.
pounds.
I thought my dog was big. My dog's 100 pounds less than that.
Gosh. Try to have that for a lap
235,
dog.
so-
I'm over here complaining about my 50-pounder. I couldn't imagine
All right, so
220 pounder.
let's throw this in real quick. Let's move on to the main topic we're getting to. And yes, these topics actually do usually help people. Just ask some of our other chat members. It is about wearing masks, and it's something that we started in the show and just went past it. That's okay. Who here? Well, I already kind of asked you at the very start what you're doing. I did the Thanksgiving thing basically, and I still constantly go through the things where I'm such a happy-go-lucky person. People don't know the trauma that I deal with inside and everything I do. I did a Thanksgiving thing for people, which Bill talked about last week incessantly. And it was invite everybody, and somebody had said, "Wow, your business is doing good. You have all this money. It's good to see you're succeeding." I'm like, no, it's not a flaunt of money. It's not what people see. Some people are just nice, and I don't understand how people view others that way and don't see what's inside out of the nature of the heart. And somebody else says, called a Friendsgiving. Everybody does them. I'm like, no, it's not. People don't go to Friendsgiving because they feel like somebody who's they're still
An
outcasts at
outsider.
Friendsgiving. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's really about people with nowhere to go. And it gets me thinking, like, is this what people think of me? And your dog can carry a truck tire. Holy shit! What kind of
Wow.
Good for your dog. Your dog's
Yeah.
stronger than I am.
17-inch, a 19-inch.
I feel
like-
Joe is really tired.
Yeah.
I feel Joe is really tired. I don't think he knew how long this was going to be. I don't think we knew how long it was going to be.
We never know.
Are you comfortable in your mask? Are you comfortable with who you are? Or do you wish sometimes you could be yourself, whether it's happy,
I
depressed?
got it
whatever?
last night.
That's fair. I'll start with you. We'll go around the table here. Nikki, are you comfortable in the masks you wear? And define it a little bit for us and explain how it makes you feel half the time.
So I think I have like a couple masks. I have that like insecure me mask that like I put that on to kind of be like my it's like my Superman cape. It makes me feel invincible, if you will. It helps me like conquer like stage fright and things like that. Then I have the like how do I say this? So the mask within like family dynamics, say where there's like family trauma and trying to figure out how to word this right. So clearly I have some family trauma, right?
We all do.
And I'm like you, Elena, where I am a middle child. So I'm very like, I've always felt to the back burner, kind of like I've always felt disposable or like non-existent even sometimes. And that mask I wear, like that's my kind of comedian side. That's when I like try to fill the uncomfortableness with laughter. And even in other instances where I like, the comedian me comes out because I feel uncomfortable. So I try to fill that with laughter. Does that explain it? Or
Yeah,
did
it
I
really
like
does with me. I use humor a lot. Anybody that knows me, I'm trying to use humor to cover up so much, whether it myself, other people, anything. Like I want to see people laugh because if they're laughing, they're not thinking about what I'm trying to
Yeah.
hide. They're not focused on it, and I think it's important. Kim says, "My mask is not real. Can you figure out what I'm meaning?" And I don't know you well enough to say I can, but I have an idea if you're referring to it, which is kind of the mask that I wear. Like when you know me, you do know the real me in a lot of ways, but you don't know the things that I'm often going through when you see me. And like when I'm working, I'm putting on a show. I'm an entertainer. I'm not the same as you, but I put on a show. And people think that life is fun and glamorous and amazing, and it's just one of the best things in the world. And my life must be absolutely phenomenal. It's not. I've been known to cry at night. I've been known to go home and just be sad that there's nobody there. I've had so many issues. I think about people I've lost in my life, which is virtually everybody in my family except for my brother, and my cousin fortunately reconnected, and I'm happy with that. And I'm struck with so much stuff that I don't want to impart on other people. I don't want them to see that side because I want to keep them knowing the happy me, because the happy me makes a happy them. And in my case, that's not real. It's still my personality shining through, but everything is hidden behind the image I'm presenting. Do you want to comment on that, Nikki, before I go to Gabe?
No, go ahead. I'm not in agreement with things
Okay,
you
go ahead,
say.
Gabe.
Yeah, I mean, for me, my entire personality is one of that. I don't like. I've said it on this show before, but I don't think I've had a friend over my house in over 12 years. 12 to 15 years.
We
I
all
don't
gotta
have
go to
people.
Gabe's.
I don't have people visit me anymore. I don't know exactly what happened anymore, but I don't communicate with people much anymore. Sometimes like on video games or things like that, I'll chat with people, but they're all sort of people that I don't know personally and have never known them. I don't know where that came from, but my mask is one of not burdening people with my problems, because I can see through their eyes that they do not have the stamina or the openness to actually give a shit about my actual problems. In this case, it's things are different. Obviously we're all very open
I'll get back to
open
you in
with
1
each
second.
other. But regarding my my concerns and my troubles and things like that, most people can't empathize with you because they don't know that your situation. They can't feel it and things like that. So most of the time they can only give you that's shitty or something like that anyway. So I myself, my mask is one of sort of a constant kind of customer service voice where like this, for instance, where I look very confident and I very happy and stuff like that. But there's a tremendous amount of self-loath in me. I function well when it comes to the needs of other people, and I strive in that. When you give me a task where it comes to taking care of somebody else, I can show up for work. When it comes to me, I'm completely lost. So that's my mask.
I'll get back to your comment in a second, Rhonda. Kim says, before I go to Joe, who's going to be next, first I'm going to ask everybody, if we run for another half hour, is everybody cool with that, or is that too long for somebody?
I'm fine.
All right, so we
Good.
can actually kind of concentrate a little bit on this. Kim says that we will close her job as her mask, and that's kind of what I was with the entertainment thing. It's, if I didn't need the money, I wouldn't do it. Now I would, because I love to entertain. That is true. I can't deny that.
That's
And
part
I
of your
think some-
personality, Keith.
Yeah, I
that's fine.
think the love to entertain is because it's kind of a mask in a way, and it does take away from me thinking. Do you think that we're unfair in the way we treat other people as far as identifying? We've all three said so far, and I'm sure the next three will say it too, that we don't want to burden people with other problems, but we want them to come to us with theirs.
Yeah.
That's definitely a double standard. I'm going to get through the comments, and then we're going to go to you, Joe. Kim also says, by the way, I have puppies for sale.
Don't tell me that.
And
Right.
she sold
Christmas
most of
is
her
coming.
puppies. Mostly the celebs, sports, and figures. I have 2 puppies already. I can't take any more.
I also already have 2 puppies.
I'm not allowed to have a puppy. I want a
But
puppy.
I want to hit
Don't tell my
Rhonda's
dog.
comment before we move on. She hates her mask. She's always a strong one. And girl, my God, do I get you on this one. No matter what you feel, you got to be the strong one in your life. You're the shoulder to cry and the consoler. Then when you have your weak moments, I feel I can't be weak as nobody knows me that way. And you just mind blown
Yeah.
almost with that comment, because that's exactly how it feels. You have to be, and I don't know if you've dealt with this, but I have on several times where I am that support. I am that shoulder. I created this whole thing based on being that shoulder and that voice. I want to be, but I can't share. But when I actually do have that moment of weakness and I need somebody to talk to, one of the most common things I hear is, "Oh, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
I can't help you." And God, does that make you feel alone? And it sometimes makes it worth it to put my emotions in my fucking pocket and walk away and put that mask back on.
Absolutely.
Yeah, sometimes it feels like I'm there for everyone, but no one's there for me.
Yeah,
Right.
all the
You know.
time.
Really hard when we're dealing with that. And I feel you on that 100%. And she completely says yes. And I can't get mad at my friends. They're my friends. I know who they are. But damn it, I'm human.
Right.
And I'll never yell at you, and I'll never get mad at you for doing that, but it hurts really deep inside. And for anybody out there, if you're ever watching this, you've always got somebody to confide in. If they ever confide in you, it's one of the hardest things they're ever going to do. You got to treat them real seriously. You have to really do your best to try to help them, because if somebody you always confide in has a problem, and they're confiding in you, it is huge in their life, much bigger than you imagine, because it takes every bit of strength to confide in that person. Back
And you
to
may be the only person that person is reaching out to. So you may be their only outlet. And if you don't approach that with openness, then they may be completely shut off to the rest of the world,
Right.
because they saw you as the only option and you didn't get the answer that you wanted. So they completely shut down.
But I will say, as far as feeling that way, one thing that gets me through it is realizing that they didn't have the answers when they came to me. So how can I expect them to have the answers when it comes to me?
Right, and
Fair.
you can't.
And you have to sometimes just be like, maybe I'm just that strong person. Give yourself the credit and the pat on the back for being so. It's still hard. And eventually you will find somebody that's there to help you. I'm going to go over to Joe.
Or maybe you just have shitty friends.
Shut up.
Maybe.
Keith, I know some of your friends.
That's why I said shut up, because I knew you were going to weigh in. Go ahead, Joe. What
I
about
won't
your
say
mask?
anything.
What is your mask, do you think? What do you use a lot of it for? And how do you try to get through it? And Rhonda, by the way, also says to Gabe, perfectly said, Gabe, and that is why this platform is so needed. So very well said, Gabe. Go ahead, Joe. I feel
I
like
feel like we should be dancing to fill
Joe's got a transatlantic connection.
he's on China's Wi-Fi.
in.
Okay, we'll get
It's
back
like
to you.
the
Joe,
it's
yeah.
like the newscast.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. Is everything running smooth on you guys done for me, or is it still laggy?
It's
It's
laggy,
really
but
laggy.
Go ahead.
That's really like
just
Go
keep
ahead.
talking, though.
Yeah, it's really laggy on my end too. Like really bad.
Yeah.
What
get figured
was
out
the
for next
question?
We wanted to talk about your mask and what you wear, and how do you get through it? What are you really hiding in there? What are you afraid to show, and how do you respond to other people? Do you ever let the real you come out, or do you use that mask as a crutch? A little worded differently, but what the hell?
Okay.
So
40 seconds.
yeah, I understand the question. All right, so how I get through it? I mean, I used to like bitch about my problems to everyone a lot, and then it just I pretty much like lost a lot of friends because of it, and then I kind of like shut myself out and like it shut the feeling out finally ran on to someone about it, and then eventually they'll get tired of my crap, getting drunk all the time, and then they'll leave. So I learned to then I eventually got sober, and I quit doing that. The problem is I was holding everything in, and then I would be sober and not tell anyone about my problems, and just wait until I hit a manic attack or a mental breakdown shit. Someone needs to talk to him, and it feels like, oh great, I don't want this feeling. I don't want people to care about me. So what I learned to do is I tell people jokes all the time. And like if I go to someone to rant about my problems, I just make a joke out of it. So like I can somewhat vent out to what's going on with me, but I can also reassure them like, look, I'm fine. I'm just going through shit that I really don't want to talk about. So here's the jokes, and that's pretty much how I get through it now. Not really a healthy way to do it, but hey, it works.
Do you ever find a release somewhere? Is there somebody that you trust to be yourself at some point and put that mask aside? I know.
No, not anymore. No, trust me, it's dead. So it's just easier for me to just make jokes to everyone. Just easier way to do it.
And you're partly why we're here half the time, because a lot of people do that. You've got I talked to him briefly earlier in the day, and we were talking like Robin Williams and the other comedians out there. They never had that outlet. They never had that person, and that tears you up so far inside. And for some people, it can end their life. And it really can, just because they're holding so much weight. And when you feel nobody gets you and nobody understands you, you wonder why you're even existing. No matter what you do for other people, that goes out the window half the time. You feel totally alone. You feel like you're there for everybody else, and the one time you need them, they're not there for you. I will tell you, Joe, I think you've definitely got to work on finding someone, something. Teresa brought it up on a previous show, whether it's sometimes journals, shit like that, to get it out, even for yourself to read. Everybody has a different outlet, but it's always good to try to find something. And we'll talk more on that shortly. I'm going to actually go to the one with that amazing idea. Teresa, what about you?
Well, I kind of talked a little bit at the beginning about how, my business or work mask. I feel like I have two, probably. My business mask and my work mask is like, I have to be on 10 all the time, like on point, ready, supportive, available all the time. And people come to me for a lot of answers, so I feel like I just have to be there with that answer. And honest to goodness, sometimes I'm just like, okay, we're gonna do this. Like I drew it out of a hat, but I have to really sell it confidently because I have to be the one that has the answers. So that's my professional hat, or my professional mask that I wear a lot, is just having to be there and be supportive and be available and be like everything to everyone.
Do you ever feel that your professional mask follows you home?
For sure, because I work a lot. So yeah, for sure it does. And it's just like, I don't know, to be the model of like how to do things. Like everyone's watching me all the time, so I feel like I've always got to have that standard. Like there can't be any faltering in that. And yeah, I definitely do it some in my personal life, but also there's like the mask in my personal life, and it's like kind of a joke sort of, but I don't think people sometimes realize how much it bothers me that I don't drink a lot, but when I drink, then my friends call me Drunk Tree, and everybody loves Drunk Tree. Which is great. Like that's great, but then it's like, okay, but like I'm smart and I'm funny and I'm nice and I'm
like, do you like sober Tree too? Like that type of thing?
Sometimes it feels that way. Like, okay, yeah, Drunk Tree is great and she's fun, but like I barely ever drink. So
how do you feel about me the rest of the time?
The rest of the time, right?
Yeah.
I sometimes I do question that. Like, okay, but what about real Tree? Like, what about just me? Like,
you often can feel like they don't know you, and it's
well,
a
and they
thing.
don't because I don't let them.
But it's a hard line to walk because your knowledge, your experience, and everything still comes through what you do. Like your intelligence comes through. A lot of things you are come through, but they just think it's so that everything's great. Like if you can solve their problems, you obviously know how to solve your own.
Right. Right.
So we don't need you on there. Finally, Elena.
Hello.
Hi.
How's it going?
Tell us about that mask, girl.
Like you said earlier, like I'm normally a very smiley, happy person, but like we were talking about a little bit ago, like middle child, I'm kind of the fixer in my family. I've dealt with a lot of things with I don't think I've talked about it too much on the show, but my older sister is she's a drug user. And that only all started happening around 4 years ago, which she used to be a very active member of the family. And then the past 4 years, she just wasn't at all. And then she's started coming around again. And we've had to be like, like, I've had to be the family spokesperson of like, okay, here are options like for Christmas. Like, do we want this person around? Here's the pros, here's the cons. What's everyone feeling? And when we had that conversation, like my mom took the floor at first, my little sister took the floor, my dad started talking because I was like, well, I'm going to go last because it just already felt like I'll do what y'all want to do because that's how it's always been type of thing. So I feel like I'm the fixer for everyone else,
But
and
when
then
you need it-
I don't have my own fixer. Does that make
But
sense?
Yeah, that's. I think we're all in the same boat, and we're definitely not the only people in this boat. I think several people in the chat are also.
Oh, it's a
in this
cruise
boat.
ship-sized boat.
Sure.
It is. We're on the same fucked up cruise.
Yeah.
Iceberg.
The one
dead
that
ahead.
like was sinking. The other, that's like part.
Titanic.
We're on the
Oh,
Titanic. It's fine.
Yeah. We're all cool with it. No problem. Just give us
But
some
like my
brandy.
mask is just like I'm a bartender and I'm a hairstylist. So like when you think bartenders and when you think hairstylists, like I'm happy and I'm making jokes and like everything's great all the time. I saw this video not that long ago. It was like a short little, it was like a Facebook reel or Instagram or TikTok, I don't remember. And it was like the caption was just this is how I feel when everyone says you've been through so much. How do you process all of that? And the background sound in it is just this woman screaming, I need fucking help. I'm not fucking okay. And it's like, this is what's going on in my head the entire time. Everyone's like, you're doing so well. It's like,
We talked about we talked about someone to confide in. Teresa, I think Joe, you said that you don't. You keep it all to yourself. Does anybody else like keep it all to themselves, where they don't have that person, and they literally talk to themselves and cry themselves to sleep at night?
I used to, and then I had to have a grippy sock vacation, and now I talk to people.
That's helpful. That's helpful. What
I
about
don't
the other
recommend
three?
bottling it all in.
Those who haven't had a grippy sock vacation.
Fortunate for me, I'm able to talk to my wife, and I can usually reset through all of that. You know, I'll just sort of unload one night, and she's always been supportive of me, so she's a great help.
What's
That's
great
good to
about a
have that.
spouse? It's like the one person that everyone, I mean, at least you should feel like you can trauma dump to them.
Yes.
Sadly, in a lot of situations, it's not the case, though.
Well, yeah.
A
That's why I
lot of
said it's
times
how
they
it
don't
should
wanna be.
supposed to be.
Yeah.
Right.
Like now I can trauma dump everything to Brandon. He's just like, he can hold me and be like, one thing that we have between the two of us is if one of us is going through it at the moment, the other person will say, okay, do you want a solution? Do you want space? Or do you want me to just sit here and listen?
Sure.
At least you get options.
Yeah.
good.
there's
Because
a
I
lot
don't
of
always want a
family-
solution. Sometimes I just want to vent. Sometimes I just want to be by myself. Sometimes I
is-
need help, you know?
Yeah.
I feel
That is me and my parents right
Yeah.
there.
I mean, I fully respect
That is the dynamic of me and my parents. Sometimes I don't want a solution at all. I just want that okay. You know, my parents were always very okay. This is your situation. this is how you should fix it. And sometimes I don't want to hear that.
Right.
I just want to hear, what you see in the movies, that just give me a hug, tell me everything's going to be all right.
Right.
Don't give me a fucking solution.
I don't
Right.
I don't need your solution. This is what I need to figure
Right.
out on my own type of thing.
But when you solve everybody's problems, sometimes they want to provide that.
Oh,
You're
100%.
always
Yeah.
there for
Sure.
them.
Yeah.
Now, family is an itchy one because sometimes I don't feel that
I'll be
way.
right back.
I don't want to bring, just like I don't want to bring my friends down with my problems, I don't want to bring my family down with my problems. They've been through enough. They've had a hard day. They rely on me to be that bright star in the night sky.
Same.
We'll get to that comment in a moment. So between you, Teresa, and Nikki on that same aspect, are there family members? And this is in no way demeaning towards your family. If you can't, some just can't. They love each other beyond means. But do you face that issue even within your own family, that you have to be the strong one in the family? Rhonda, I know experiences that.
Yeah, 100%.
Same.
And there's been times where I just really needed to be allowed to like be weak, to like have that moment, to have somebody like listen or not have a solution, just even let me just cry. And because they're so used to me being the one who is doing that for them, it's almost like they're just incapable of being that for me. So it's sort of become like this protective mechanism of mine that I just don't share any of it, out of like just wanting to avoid like being disappointed that when I needed you to listen, you didn't listen. So now you are not deserving enough to know anything beyond.
So you kind of self-punish those people just based on yours. I get that, actually, because I do that too. Like, when I needed you, it's done now. I got to help myself.
Well, it's also partially why I'm in therapy. I gave myself what I needed because I wasn't finding it. Now, that's not saying like anything. Just sometimes people can't be that for somebody. They're so used to being strong all the time. They just can't process you being weak when you're always, so
Does it,
strong.
Teresa, do you want to respond to that before Rhonda says, Rhonda, I'll do that first. Rhonda said, I would love to just hear the words, how can I help? I've said it before on this show. I've said it in real life to people. When you see somebody that seems happy as can be in the world, sometimes you'll do a lot of good to ask them what's wrong and what's going on in their life, because they are hiding a lot. Go ahead, Teresa. I'll throw Kim's comments in a minute.
A lot of times I guess more recently, in the last like maybe 10 years or so, I've had to like put some really strong boundaries around family, because I was always in the middle of everyone's everything and I can't be. So I have to, like, I don't know, my boundaries are really high. And when I've tried to like, oh, things are going good and like we can relax the boundaries a little bit, then like it's an onslaught. Like, give them an inch, they'll take a mile. So yeah, I just have to keep tight boundaries. But thankfully, I do have my husband, and like it isn't every day, but recently it's been a lot of days where I come home and I'm like, thank you for being my safe place. Like,
Oh, I love
because
that.
he is. But yeah, I don't really have a lot of, like, when Gabe was talking about, not having friends over, I'm like, I don't feel like I have a lot of friends. I have to keep boundaries around a lot of my family members. So
Drina says that her screen's stuck and she had no sound, but she's here to also say it is okay to turn yourself off, distance yourself from those who need you. You're right, and unfortunately, the off switch is really hard to reach.
Sometimes it can be, for sure. Yeah.
Right.
We want.
I think
and
she's
that's-
asking, is it okay to do that? Is it
Oh,
okay
but
to
is it okay? Okay. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
to turn yourself off and distance
absolutely.
yourself? And
Boundaries are
100%.
phenomenal.
Dyslexia.
Yeah.
You
here.
have to.
All right.
You
But
have to
is it okay?
sometimes.
Thank you
You
for
have
pointing
to.
that out.
You have to.
Yeah, it is okay to do it, but it can be really hard, and you have to force yourself. When I was talking about laying at night and in tears, I don't care if I'm a man.
Actually, I kind of want to butt in on this really quick.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
We'll wait.
All right. It is okay, but to a certain extent. If you're just doing it for like a small period of time, go ahead. But if you're doing it for a long distance, I do not recommend it. Talk to someone about it because it can destroy you inside, and you could do something very stupid. It's better to actually reach out for help in any way, or there's other options to keep yourself mentally stable or from hitting that breaking point, but you just got to figure out what your strong suit is and how to approach it. But just remember, you will eventually snap, and it's not a good thing to have. It's very dangerous.
I
So
wanted
before you're ready to hit that breaking point, talk to someone immediately. Doesn't matter who it is, just do it.
That's well said.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
absolutely.
I was just going to say, I agree with Joe, but I also want to say that not always is it a bad thing to disconnect, because the people you're disconnecting from could be the toxicity you need to get away from.
There
Does
is
that
a
make
limit. You
sense?
have to know the people. You have to know the
Yeah.
people you are disconnecting. Drina responds with, I'm going to get back to you in a second, Kim. Drina responds with, I can't turn myself off, so silently I scream in my head while listening. No, I'm not off, but it's a new thing. I'm in the same boat, and I think that's why sometimes I feel like my struggle is bigger than a lot of them, and not necessarily you or anybody in particular, but bigger than a lot of people, because I can't. I will promise myself over and over, I'm done with this shit. Nobody's there for me. Why am I even alive? I'm not going to kill myself. I'm not that person, but some people will. Why am I even here? And then I'll go right back to it in a heartbeat, because
Yeah.
that off switch is so hard to control. Because truthfully, it irritates the fuck out of me, but it also makes me feel so bad.
Well, also speaking on Drina's comment, it took me a very, very, very long time to stop silently screaming in my head, because I was doing it every fucking day
Same.
for 3 years once my sister went down her path. And I had to go no contact with her pretty early on in the process just because of things that were said. I felt no longer safe having that relationship with her and the people that she chose to surround herself with. So I had to go no contact with her. And it felt like it was killing me, because before that happened, her and I were very close. Like, we talked about everything. We hung out all the time. And like in our adulthood, like we were all adults when this was happening. So when I was filling Brandon in on all of this, because this had all started happening before he came into my life. So then filling him on it, he never really got the full extent to it. And then it was a thing where every single time I was drinking, I'd just start sobbing uncontrollably, being like, I just need to talk to her. I need to call her. I need to do this. And she wouldn't answer the phone, of course, because we weren't talking. And then it'd make me feel even worse. And then finally the line of communication was open back up, and then I thought everything was going to get better, and then I learned that happened almost a year ago, and then this past year has taught me that the communication for her and I just cannot be open, because it's not good for me. The
Yeah.
anxiety that surrounds me around the entire topic when she's involved in it is not good for me, and this is for the first time in my life, it needs to be me before her.
You do
In
have
my
to
own
drop certain
story.
people in that way. This, me and earlier when I was first talking to Joe, we had discussed the drinking thing too, and we get in there that sometimes it puts so much stress on us. Like, I try not to get drunk anymore because I know where it places me. Not in the moment, not at the party, when I'm done.
Yeah.
When
The
I'm
hangxiety.
yes, I love that word. I haven't heard it, but I probably should have.
Oh, it's all over the internet. I didn't coin that.
That's why I haven't heard of it. Okay. Kim says, just remember, love yourself so that you can love others. Very, very true. And that's what I think a lot of it's based on. But sometimes I don't think we love ourselves. I think
Sometimes
there's
it's
certain
really hard.
aspects,
It is, yeah.
It really
we
fucking
don't
is.
feel like we should. We tell people that all the time. I say it all the time. I'm sure everybody on this panel probably says it all the time. But
Oh,
it's
of
so
course.
hard to fucking do because we can't do it ourselves.
Easier said than done.
She also says, not telling you what to do, but maybe you should take time individually, say what you can do to help yourself and maybe help the watchers, but spell it out. That's good. You should be like the king of or the queen of this show, because you're awesome at this. And also, she just saw it with Scream. There's no Nev Campbell either on that. Well, she's not officially out of it yet. as far as I know. But she's also not confirmed at all. They're going to try to get her. They rewrote the whole script for that as far as the screen cancellation with Melissa Barrera. Do you find, does anybody here, since we are all those people and we try to help each other, and oddly enough, we wear kind of the same mask in that sense. We all try to help. There's other masks that people do. Do you ever find yourself getting worse at it because of how you've been treated? Like, I started doing this. I would go all out to help somebody. Everything I could say, everything I could do, my focus was on them. But sometimes I do it now, and I start to think I have my own problems and nobody's helping me. And I think I will still help them, but I think it dwindles the effect of the ability I once had to realize how many less people actually care about me in that situation. And they care, I know, but not when I needed it. Does anybody ever find something like that happening?
All the time.
Yeah.
Chrono, so good to see you. I haven't seen you in over a year. Says I internalize a lot. I love you, my guy. Part of it is because my friends don't know how to be better friends. And another part is I don't know how to let people in. That is something that we didn't touch on that we really should have, because I can agree with this so much right now that I'm afraid. I'm looking to get attacked. I'm looking to get hurt. Before I go back to that comment, Rhonda says, sorry guys, I have to log off. Had surgery in the AM. Good luck on that. Thanks,
Good
panel.
luck,
You guys
Rhonda.
are awesome.
Good luck with your
Good luck,
We love you,
surgery.
Rhonda. Everything's going to be great.
Thanks for listening.
We love having you on here. Going back to Chrono. Part of it is because my
Good
friends
luck.
don't know how to be friends. How many people deal with this? How many people do not let people in the same way anymore that maybe they used to? Because I think we all started on the fact of, be my friend, I'm awesome, I'm cool. You know?
Yeah, because that's how we're all like, we're all like that as kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We all change just based on our experiences. And I feel like for a lot of us that just put on this really happy facade all the time, I feel like it's because of our happiness and our smiley go lucky personalities that a lot of people don't think to ask us, is everything okay?
That's
Yes.
the thing. That's why
That's
whole
what
thing.
that's what it all is. No, like if I'm walking around happy all the time, no one's gonna be like, are you okay?
Right.
Chrono,
Which, because I'm
curious.
that type of person, I have been like trying to be better at asking the people around me that are super happy all the time, like, hey, let's sit down for a second. What's going on with you?
Yeah.
Like, oh, everything's great. I'm like, no, I don't care about
Yeah.
work. What's going on with you?
Yeah, we know work. Work sucks for everybody. It's work.
Right.
Right.
You know, what's going on here? I have a question for you, Chrono,
that's-
and it's a question for the whole panel as I ask it, of course. I was going to say, do you have that person to confide in? But in addition to that with the panel is when we have that person to confide in, are we now afraid to confide in them because we could lose that person for not being the great person we are?
I'm not, because the government says he shouldn't leave, so I'm good.
There's
We got the government
financial-
involved in that.
That's right. There's taxes involved now.
Do you ever
Right.
find yourself meeting that person that you just love that person, though, and you're like, I want to share everything with this person, but afraid to bring it up because you've met this person as such a happy-go-lucky person, and you're afraid they're going to see more? Does that ever tear you apart inside? Like you're risking being yourself or losing somebody you really care about?
I shut down, basically. I have a hard time faking my moods, so to a certain degree. So, if I'm down, most of the time you're going to know it. If I'm just really, really, really low. And I have very big highs and very big lows. And in those situations, I'm just not present. I escape in every possible way possible. So that's kind of how I cope, is I'm not
So you kind of
present.
do a shutdown still.
I shut down, yeah, for sure, until I have
Do you-
sort of a release of is anybody going to notice? But at the same time, all of that stuff goes into my psyche,
But do you ever feel with that, like you said, you have your wife's confide in, who's an amazing person for you, listens. Do you ever find yourself going like, I don't want to burden her more?
Yeah,
Like I've still got to hold stuff back because she's dealing with her own stuff. I know it because I'm
Well,
always there
that's
for her.
most of me, is that I won't sort of release. I do build up a tremendous amount until to that point where I just can't fake it anymore. So
I get that. What about the rest of you? Anything like that where you finally find someone that maybe you see as that and you're afraid to get it out in there? And how do you overcome that? Do you overcome it? Oh, by the way, Drina, I did want to get on this. We also want to respond to this. It says, I'm really okay most of the time, but when I'm not, it seems nobody cares. And that's something that Rhonda agreed with you earlier when she said it too, is when you have a problem. And I agree. I think most of us actually agreed with it. And
The only time I would actually, oh, I got.
go ahead, Joe.
that's like 10 seconds.
Oh, my bad. Sorry, it really lagged out for a sec. The only time I would rant someone that I like about my problems is if I go mental for a second and I have to explain what the hell is going on with me. So it doesn't really put them in a panic, but I'll like try to secure them. Like, look, I'm trying my best to hold myself together. Just I detach myself for a few before I start so I can get everything under control enough where I can do it, so where I can like try to put the person before me between everything. That's pretty much how I live until I keep hitting my manic states, because I don't want to lose that person I care about with my problems. So that's pretty much how I
That's
deal with it.
that's exactly where I was getting with that too, is that you get afraid to the point that you don't want to open up to anybody because you don't want to change that. You don't want to change the connection you have with somebody. And Trina, it always seems like nobody cares to the point that you don't even want to try because you have.
Well,
We're
and
gonna
that's
go.
part of the function of the mask. It's in a lot of cases it's a defense mechanism. If I put the mask
Uh-huh.
on, like Elena was talking about, I look happy so no one's going to ask me what's wrong. I've
Right.
got the happy mask on, no one's going to ask. Everyone's going to think I've got it all together.
Yeah.
So it's definitely at least a part of it, I think, is that it's a defense mechanism.
And sometimes I wonder which is better. Like sometimes I think it's better to keep that mask on because so many people smile around me than sharing in my misery. And I'm not saying I'm a
Yeah.
miserable person, but
It's
I'd
what
rather
you've
see 10
learned.
people smile. Yeah. Go ahead,
It's
Dave.
what you've learned over the years. It's basic psychology where you've sort of learned what works, what's going to get the correct actions to either help you uh, get the answer that you want, or just have that person sort of leave you alone and move on to something else. It's how you function in society. It's how you get through. You go, okay, well, I did this at work, and everybody thinks I'm happy-go-lucky. So I am gonna bring that home. I'm gonna use those same mechanisms in order to uh, sort of get through this basic conversation, and everybody will either think I'm okay or whatever, because I'm just not getting the answer I want.
I really hope at one time we can break out of that. Kim says you want to deal with how you're treated work in Vegas. Yeah, I imagine people aren't treated the best in Vegas, for sure, unless they're high rollers. Uh, it also said, I don't let people in at my job where I live, no matter where it might be. I talk to people for a while and decide. And that's, I think, what a lot of us do. And unfortunately, a lot of us go to the answer of we decide, no, we're not letting you in. It's just easier. You love this, you're happy. I'd rather see you happy than me. And that is something, I don't know how true it is for this panel, but I believe it's probably true for most of this panel, if not all of it. We would rather see those people happy than us. We'd rather
Absolutely.
deal with our struggles because we believe we're strong enough. And most people that wear these masks, they believe they're strong enough to deal with it. But if you're not, what Joe said was absolutely right. Get out, reach out, find these people. If you feel you're not strong enough to handle it, Joe, that was an awesome point you made. You need to
Mhm.
find somebody too. You can't just cut these people out because we're still human. We may be strong, but we have moments that tear us down. Kim also says he is now, low voice, dark background. Choose what topic he wants to comment on. Not really, but we'll work with that. And then we got Chrono back right here. Chrono says the problem I have.
No, she's right.
Yeah, just right. The problem I have is not that I worry about losing my friends. It's that I view my place in the world, that I'm here for. I don't even want to read the rest of that right now. Because I've said this so many times, even on this show, that I'm here for them. And because of that, my pain is my burden to bear, not for them to bear.
I also feel like, so our panel is made up with very empathetic people. And I feel like a lot of us, at least I'm speaking for myself.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm sorry. I got to get to the next comment.
I feel like a lot of us don't realize that other people are also empathetic, so we just assume they won't care.
That's it. You know, we don't give people the chance.
Right.
We're such hypocrites half the time.
Oh,
We completely
1,000%.
are just like, fucking, we got you. We got your problem. You want to help me? No. You can't
Yeah.
help me. You don't get what I'm going through because I help you, so I know you don't get it.
Right.
But your husband wanted to chime in really quick, Elena, to say, I'm not an asshole. I just can't handle your shit while I'm working on handling mine.
I never called him an asshole. What are you talking
I didn't
about?
think you did either.
Brandon!
It's a
He
guy.
just logged on. He has no idea what we've been talking about. I said some very sweet things about you, actually, about how you're always there for me and about how wonderful you are, you fucking prick.
But
That's right. Review the tape.
Yeah, playback.
review the tape.
It's
Review the
replay.
footage.
That was bullshit.
It was just a general statement. Just an in general statement.
Okay, so that it had
Okay.
nothing to do with me.
How
Good.
we-
Kick your ass.
Not you. There, we're covered. The divorce is no longer going on. Okay. So back to Chrono's
Take this
issue here. Anybody else want to hit on this? Because this is a very important one. I feel I am here for other people. I feel that so much all the time. I feel that is my job. That is my duty. That's what. Get out of here, Brandon, you asshole. Now, you know, I feel it's purpose. I always said I'm strong enough. I won't commit suicide because the world's not ready to lose me. I mean that statement 100% because I feel that's what I'm here for because I've seen so much impact in the world around me because of it. And it wasn't until this show that I started opening so much about this stuff. You know, because it is important to get it out there. Anybody else have any words for? I think I called him by his name, Chrono. I was like,
I only heard Chrono.
okay, good.
Yeah, I mean, I've at this point, I've lost most of my friends. I think so. I don't really have that from my own experience, but except for Keith. Keith is a good friend. Most of the time, he texts
75%.
giving me a guilt trip about friendship, but that's cool.
Yeah, I do that sometimes. Does anybody else because of the shit they deal with? Honestly, that's a defense mechanism.
100%.
That they hit the guilt trip and they're really good at it.
I kind of do that. It's only
Really
when
good
we're
at it.
going out. I'm really good at guilt tripping people into going out.
Yeah. Anybody else guilt trip? Do they use that for something? Sometimes for me, it's it's the escape energy. I kind of feel this way, but I'm gonna say it kind of jokingly.
Oh, 100%.
You know, and I'm
It's
gonna
always a half
embellish
joke.
on it. Yeah, I'm gonna embellish on it, but there's truth in the background.
Yeah. We all do that.
What about you, Nikki, Teresa?
Oh, you can go ahead, Nikki.
Oh no. Sorry. I kind of was distracted for a second. Teresa can go ahead.
Okay. I don't know. I mean, I guess, yeah, to a point. I do feel like I never thought of it in that perspective of being here for other people. But yeah, I do. Now that I think about it, it's like, yeah, I can relate to that. I think that I would, at holidays or with my husband, I've done a couple things with him that it's like, it isn't for me. Honestly, I like football, I'm not a Lions fan. I go there and watch him
Yeah.
because I just want to see him happy. You know,
Sure.
I want to do things for other people or help them if they're not happy. I want to help them be happy. Like, it isn't for me. Like, I'm just there to make him, like, enjoy life and things like that. And I do that with my kids, and I do that with probably most of the people around me. So I can definitely relate to that as well.
And before we go to the final end, you, Nikki, and then I'll hit Drina's comment. And that'll be
I mean, I definitely relate in the same way. I'm more like caregiver rather than like a take care of me. So, and I've said it many times to my family, sometimes out of frustration, just because I get to a point where I'm like, I am taking care of everybody. I just need somebody to take care of me. Like, I'm exhausted too. Like, I'm, and it's not that I don't want to be that for them, but they're like, I also feel like they don't see that like I'm human too. Like, I
yeah.
am going
You're
through
just the
things too.
fixer.
You feel
Yeah.
like you're not human. You
Yeah.
really do.
Yeah.
And it doesn't.
You're the
I
fix-it
feel
machine.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
People
a
don't
Matriarch.
see us as
robot.
human beings. Adrena says, yeah, you'll rather help others with whatever they're going through and leaving any issues you're having out.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of double standard on that because I do leave any issues I have out, but at the same time, I cannot stand personally when I'm breaking through my mask and I'm telling you about me and you make it about you.
Yes.
That's probably one of my biggest problems I have with people. And I'm telling anybody, if somebody is ever there for you all the time and you break out of your mask to talk to them, or they break out of their mask to talk to you, listen, ignore your problems for a moment, because every time that person has helped you, they've done that in return. And it may be hard, but never turn it around about you, because what you do, you throw these people back in their boat of feeling they're not important, you are. And they'll be there, and they'll turn it around, and they'll help you, and they'll walk you through it, and they'll walk away crying inside.
Yep.
Because their problem was never something that was worth it. And Drina also says that, oh my God, everybody's a Lions fan. No, they still suck. I don't care what people say.
Do you see my flag?
I do now. I didn't notice it before.
Oh,
It's-
yeah.
I don't know when Brandon put that up. I don't come down here very often. To me, that's new.
So, okay, well, I mean, that's really it. I mean, we all put on these masks. We got to find a way to let loose. Joe said it. Joe will be back in a moment, by the way. He just had to step out for a second. But it was a great point that everybody made. We put on these masks. We try to get through, and the world doesn't see us right. And we talk about it like it's us, but we're not the only ones. I, in a sense, as good as we are as people and as a panel on the show for most topics, we're a little weak with this panel because we share too much in common. But everybody wears unique masks that aren't about doing for others all the time. Sometimes it's just about hiding basic trauma they're doing. It has nothing to do with helping others. Different aspects of different things. So, this is kind of a weak panel for that because we are so alike. We really are. But again, that's why we have the show.
Well, we succeed as being functional human beings.
Adrena says they take a while to warm up. Go Lions. I mean, I'll say go Lions, but people always hate people that are like, oh, you don't support the Lions when they're losing, but you support them when they're winning. You're not a real fan. I'm like, fuck no. They suck when they're losing. They suck when they're winning. I'm a loyal fan. I was like,
I like
know
them
they
no matter
suck.
what. I liked them
Yeah.
in what was it, 08 when they didn't win a single game?
Yeah,
That's fine.
I
That was like the
said,
past 40 years,
Yeah.
for the most part.
yeah, I still like them, but absolutely.
Unfortunately, we all still like them.
First off, I want to say I very much appreciate everybody. Oh, there's the cat. I love it. I appreciate everybody staying the extra time. I know we said we weren't going to do long shows like this, but I did think this was something we had to hit and cover because people do it all. People deal with this all the time. It is what I said before the end is very true. It's not uncommon. It's not just to us, and we really did have kind of a one-sided thing here. where we all deal with helping others. And it makes sense because that's why we're on this panel. You know, that's why we have this show. But there are many people that wear masks to hide everything from being a drunk, from just being miserable, to being abused, to it just doesn't matter whether it's your sexuality, whether it is something with trans people, whether it's being pushed down, whether it's racism. We put on a mask to hide all the things that bother us. And unfortunately, we've already said how, as people who like to help others, we have a hard time extending ourselves out to others to help us. But these people that are dealing with racism, or just bad childhoods, or child abuse, you know, or things they've dealt with going through their entire life, they also don't open up to people. And Joe probably made one of the best points that I know in this show. We all had good points, but when somebody had asked on the show, is it okay to hold it in and just go? And we're all like, yeah, it's okay to let it go. We all agreed. And he actually stepped up and said, no, because it can really hurt you. It can really damage you. And that's very true. In our situation, we're strong enough to do that. You may not be. And you're still a great human being. You're still strong as a human being. But you need to let it go because it can lead to other things. And you're going to end up not just hurting other people by not being who you should be. You're going to hurt yourself. You're ultimately, there are people out there that hold it inside so long that are the happiest in the world, Robin Williams. And then you find out what they were struggling with and what they were going through when it's too late to do anything about it. Masks are amazing things because they do hide who we are. But everybody that wears a real life physical mask at some point takes it off in their life. You can do that with your emotional mask. You can do that with your pseudo mask that you wear just to hide who you are inside. Take it off every once in a while. Find the person. If that person is not receptive, then maybe you should just move on from them and find somebody else. Don't stop giving it a try. I'm guilty of doing that. I'm sure people on this panel are too, that we just stop trying to open up to people sometimes. But we can't stop because we know that we would tell anybody in that situation to open up, to let the truth out, to be who you are, to accept help from other people, to know you're not going through things alone, to know you're a good person, to know the value within you. Unfortunately, when you wear a mask, a lot of your best values are hidden. There's nothing in there to show who you really are, whether it's your artistic capabilities, your IQ, as somebody said. No matter what it happens to be inside of you, you're blocking that as well. You're not giving people a chance to love the real you. And I'll tell you one thing. 100 people can just turn their backs on you, but it's going to take one to change your life forever. It doesn't matter who it is. If you can open up to that one person and realize that you are connected in a different area, in a different realm besides this own world, whether it's emotional, spiritual, then you're going to have a different life from that moment forward. Don't ever forget to reach out. Don't ever forget to accept help. But most importantly, don't ever forget that those that help you sometimes need help themselves. I want to say, Nikki, I was very glad to have you on this show. As always, I kind of got to repeat this all the time because your insight is very good and you're very open and honest. And I know I say the same thing about you very often, but when you got that quality, you got that quality, girl.
You
And I
know, we got
appreciate
that
the things.
pizzazz.
I like that you're not afraid. I like that you're always here to help other people. And, you know, you do shine through your mask sometimes here. And I appreciate it because what's behind that mask is an absolutely beautiful, wonderful person that sometimes
Oh,
more
I
people
love
should
you.
see.
Thank you.
And Gabriel, you're the king of masks sometimes. You
Yeah.
really are. I know what you're struggling with. You not only from this show, we've talked before. But
Yeah,
this
there's
show
been a
alone-
couple of nights at karaoke that you've seen me for sure.
But I'll tell you, the one thing I haven't lost, those that don't know, I mean, I grew up with Gabe. Gabe was my best friend, you know, in my childhood years. And I still see that person inside. Sometimes that person doesn't need to be hidden anymore. And I'm glad that you get a chance to still be who you are on occasion. It makes you a stronger person. It makes you stronger to be in other people's lives. I appreciate you 100% for that.
You as well.
And Elena, you have got, unfortunately, you just got the face. You know, that's one thing
Oh,
with your
thanks.
mask. You really do. You've got that face that really says, I'm always happy. And that's an unfortunate thing.
See, before you came back with that, it really just sounded like you got a face, and that's about it.
No, you're
Well,
not.
you got a face.
Well, you got a face.
That's good.
You got
Good
that going
starting
for
point.
you.
And she always cuts everybody off. That's why we love her. Whatever your name is, I can't remember.
Not Bill. It's definitely not Bill.
No, it's not Bill. Kim. I just got confused.
I don't
Okay.
cut people off
So
nearly as
that's
bad
why
as Bill
we-
does.
Yeah, no, Bill is
No,
just
I
cutting
think-
everybody
I think
off.
she meant me.
Oh.
But no, Elena,
I don't think
do.
you do at all, Nikki.
You have a very inviting face. You do, and people see you even without you saying a word. I think you come off as that happy-go-lucky, not a care in the world girl, and we know that's not it. And I wish more people would look beyond what they actually see there.
Well, I am glass half full type of person, but yes.
Absolute love to everybody, Drina. We love you very much. You definitely help make these shows, and I appreciate it. So I want to thank you again, Elena, for being here. I like that you chime in on the shows that matter most to you, and that's the best thing to have in here, and you're not afraid to speak your mind. We talked about a lot of things besides just the mask and stuff, though we're closing on that. I love your drive. I absolutely love your drive.
Thank you.
So thank you again for being here. Your passion is irreplaceable.
I love this show.
I do too.
We have so much fun.
We do. Teresa, you amazing fucking woman. You are. I have seen you go through so many ups and downs in your life. And the thing I love about you is you have used that energy so much to enrich other people's lives. And you still do it to this day. And anytime you're feeling down, you are the definition of pulling yourself back up. And I love that. I love that you live for the moment of the future rather than the past. And I've seen that with you. I've seen you go several directions, even on this show originally, from being down and worried and lonely to embracing what life has to offer, but most importantly, never forgetting that other people need help too. You don't let your own success in your own world hinder you from helping others.
Thank you.
It's very true on there. How do I find this Bill?
He'll be on again.
Yeah,
Stick
he'll be
around
on again.
and you'll see him.
You'll definitely see him.
A mirror,
You'll
maybe.
definitely see him. He actually had, yeah, he'll be on at some point, I'm sure. And Joe, welcome to the show. You're muted by me or you, I don't know, but welcome to the show. Yeah, you muted your own mic. So I'm glad to have you here. The things you said were very smart. Some of the stuff you pointed out was amazing in here for your first show. I know you had lag, so it was really hard to chime in and actually direct questions towards you because there's a lag difference. But the things you said, I think you're going to be a great asset to a lot of the shows we do here. Because you speak with a very young, fresh experience that I think is needed in here. You and Elena are definitely needed for that, both of you, because you bring a different aspect that people in my generation or Teresa's generation or Nikki or go 10 generations ahead to Bill when he's on here need to hear. So, and I appreciate that. I love your honesty. I love opening up. The best thing I loved about you being on here right now was your admittance of the things that you've dealt with in the past. I will say that it's very common for people who get on not just this show, but anything in general, to hide aspects. You embrace them. And I appreciate that so much. It's a pleasure having you on here. I hope to see you again. We will be back here on next Sunday with a topic that God knows what it's going to be, but coming through December, we'll also hit up Surviving the Holidays, a special 2-week episode that will go through with steps that are needed to survive and get through the holidays. Hopefully, we're going to embrace some of the things that should have been alone for the holidays show.
I can't do a 2-week podcast. That's too long.
Oh, you broke
Yeah,
the
we're
fuck
staying
up.
on
That was
the
like
air
right
for
at
2
the end.
weeks. We're staying on the air for 2 weeks. It's a 2-part, you dumb fuck.
2 weeks
Alright.
straight.
He
Could
obviously
you
knew
imagine?
what you meant.
Okay,
Keith.
fair enough.
I know he knew what I meant. I know he knew what I meant. So we'll be back for that. But I want to remind, of course, while you're here, don't forget the most important thing you can ever do in your life is like, share, and subscribe, follow to Your Shoulder Voice. It's very important. All right. No, but make sure to follow us. Always engage in the chat. We love having you here. Thank you again. We will see you all next week for another episode of Ear Shoulder Voice. Thank you for bearing with us in this extra long show. We're glad to have you, but we think a lot of stuff had to be said. You all have yourselves a great night.
And thank you, commenters.
When you're alone and feeling down,
God.
and you're 10 feet underground, when you're so deep you're about to drown, when you're in
Oh my God,
lost
the lag's so bad. It's like cutting every word.
But your heart will
Alright.
never fade away. Go out and find your way. Don't let them take your soul away. Not a week, not a single day. Hold true to what you wanna be. Never let go, and here's the key. Being you, yeah, only you. Only you. Being you, yeah, only you. Only you.
All right.
Hello, hello.
Hello,
We've
hello.
lost a few. There you go.
Nikki, I know, had to go. She said she had to leave. She was
Of course.
Yeah.
Which I appreciate everybody saying. That was awesome on here. Oh, I still have our names. Let's get rid of that crap. We don't need our names.
Also, can we talk about how bad my lazy eye is today? It looks like I have a glass eye.
I did not notice at all.
I know.
know
I
what?
mean, like,
Until
I
you
know we're
pointed
all
out.
our own worst critics, but like this eye, or not this one. This one's not moving. It's just fixed. This is the one that's working.
You know,
Yeah,
I didn't notice it
at all.
but I can't take my eyes off of it now.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. It's like once it's pointed out, it's obvious, but it's one of those things, you know.
Yeah, I think that's you are your own worst critic because you don't really look for things like that, you know.
Every
no,
time
I
I
don't,
get
but
a
I
glimpse-
can't
I-
stop looking now.
It's so
Like, I
bad.
can't. I mean, we just gotta let's bring this up a little more for us. Okay, like I can't get off that focus right there. I'm sorry. Yeah.
That's fine.
I was like,
I don't notice.
It's not good.
oh no, let's get you back there. Okay.
It looks like I have a sty or something. Sorry.
No, it's my fault because I can't take my eyes off it.
But this is like why I'm not a pictures person. Like Keith, you may or may not know, but like I'm not one to like take pictures. I'm not a selfies girl. Like my Instagram, like it's dry, it's lagging because all of my pictures, my lazy eyes showing, pisses me off.
See, I'm not an open mouth smiler.
Same.
That's fair.
Every picture for the past 30 years, I'm like this.
My dad's like that too.
Okay, so Joe is not returning. I did like that his lag was going over the credits.
Oh, I
I
laughed
that.
out loud.
I know. I saw you. It was bad. I'm glad he was on here. I mean, he was a nice asset. I think if he was able to more easily communicate.
Oh,
we'll
100%.
get that
Yeah.
fixed, 'cause he was
Yeah,
really
because
good.
I want to have a discussion with him regarding certain things because, and we'll talk about it later. After
He did say
this-
it was nice meeting everybody.
This ends. No, explain things to you.
You know why it's a good show? Because I started drinking my drink again.
There you go.
It's what was needed. I haven't done it in a while. I was drinking fucking wine coolers. What's that gonna do?
I had Blake's cranberry wine and it was so good.
Ooh.
That sounds good. I think you should send us all a bottle.
What kind of wine coolers are you drinking these days?
Me? Well, let me guess. Jack
Barrel-
Daniel's Southern Peach.
St. James?
I'm not
Oh,
surprised.
Oh, wow.
You can only get these down south.
Oh, really?
Really?
Yeah, you can get the coolers here, but you can't get Southern Peach here.
Oh, right. I knew you could get the coolers here.
Yeah.
So you got that down south?
Yeah, in
then
Alabama.
transport
Pretty
it?
much when I go to see my aunt and uncle, I'm only going for the Jack Daniels.
I won't tell.
Don't tell them.
I won't tell.
No, that was a good show, everybody. You all did a fantastic job. I got to say, I really, really enjoyed this. It was nice to kind of get back to it a little bit. So,
Yeah, of course.
even aside from recovering from the last show, I think it was nice just to get back to this format. And really, we hit 2 shows in one.
Yeah.
We really did.
I'm glad we spent the extra time to get to that topic because
Because I did really want to hit it. I didn't think we were going to go as far with some of the stuff as we did. But they were great comments and they were great questions. I was more than happy to talk to people about it.
yeah.
You were too. So I'm glad we got back to it too. Good, because I didn't want to do it again next week. I didn't know how to bring it in. I didn't want to have a topic up that was the same as the last one.
Right, and then
Yeah.
the chance that we miss it and then get off
It just
topic
keeps
again.
happening. It
Yeah,
keeps
just-
getting pushed
Right,
back
right,
and pushed
right.
back
Every
and
week.
pushed back.
Hello, welcome to our 12th season of Your Shoulder Voice. Tonight's topic,
the
Behind the
same
Mask.
topic.